So a few weeks ago, Bally thought I'd like to see Karl, and now Karl stood next to him. So let's say firstly thanks to Karl for coming, but also thanks to Bally for being a part of this. Cheers, Bal.
Hi guys, my name is Bally. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I just want to kind of expand a little bit more on the reason why. It must be kind of fate, I don't know, but something happened anyway. But for my own problem was to do with the planning issue, which I thought, wrongly, that I've done nothing wrong. So quickly it kind of escalates, and I went on all these different training courses, tried lots of different things, they didn't really work. And then somebody introduced me to Karl's work, and he's on this radio show in America. So I thought, no, why not? Nothing else is working. Why not try a different, one more start? So so far in one of the cases, I saw I had an injunction against me from one of the things that I learned from somebody else in the country. So I had two cases running. So really, from the injunction, I had lots of different orders. So halfway through, I was trying not to contract the court or the opposite side, but then the orders, I had no choice. So I had the pressure of the time scale and stuff that I didn't really want to do. So I tried to find out from Karl's technique how that kind of works and what was the best thing to do. And I rang him up. I thought, well, there's no time like the president. Just rang up, got a bit of advice. But here's very short sentences together, and you'll find what in a few moments what this is all about. But very short sentences, no controversy, and very short, concise sentences. The orders vanished, so I knew, hang on, that worked. So I rang up like most of his other listeners do, saying, oh, that worked. I'm really shocked. I didn't expect it to work. And I got a bit more advice, and then I said to him, look, this is no good. I'm busy. You're busy. When can I get you on a plane ticket and get you over here? So he said, I have a farm, so I've just got to wait for winter for it to close down a little bit, and then I'll come. So I asked him again in a couple of weeks' time, perfect time, and a couple of weeks later, this is where he is. So it kind of all fell together at the same time. I've took him to a Crown Court as well, which worked quite wonders as well, which we'll talk about the techniques for that as well. So there's lots of different things you can do. I'm not going to take too much of your time, because that's unfair. You don't want to listen to him. You want to listen to this guy? So, you go.
Like Andy said, sometimes they just mess with the wrong guy, and it doesn't they just mess with the wrong guy. I gave fair point. I said I've been a pain in everybody behind since I was a little kid, so I knew they were messing with the wrong guy when they messed with me. It was simple. My child was born. Thanks to Dean, he heard my show, and he heard my boy is Downs, so he can't play the right, but he likes to play the toys. So thanks Dean for bringing some toys and outdoors, and I love it. And he thank God there's two types of Downs. One's always happy, and one's kind of depressed. Thank God I got the happy version. He's always happy. But anyway, when the child was born, he wasn't born in the state where I lived. He was born in Alabama, and they said before they could release him, they want to do a home study and stuff, and they want me to sign out the paperwork that state people compensated for medical. And I said, I got the bill. I'll cover this. And they're like, oh no, it's feel like I'm million. I said, just hand me the bill. I'm not going to enter into any contract with the state of Alabama. I just wish to go home my child, my property. And they said it's not going to happen until I sign some paperwork. And it was funny when I said to them, just wrap the child up when he's good to go, because he's born premature. And that's going to take 3 or 4 months for him to be discharged from the hospital, because he would weigh like 2 pounds, 9 ounces. So what's funny is they said, you do understand that that's my property we're talking about. And 2 social workers like, I can't believe you just said property. I said, what, that's a bad word, politically incorrect to say property? Like, yeah, you don't own property. And I looked down at the end of the bench to the mother of the child and said, you're my property, ain't you? And she said, yeah, you're right, I am. And I said, wait, am I not your property? And she said, absolutely. I said, you folks don't understand the word property. And this is what the government's really messing with you folks. Property just means what is exclusive to you to use and enjoy. Exclusive to all others within a society. Nobody has the right to tell you how you may use or enjoy your property. Do they have a vested interest in it? Make your claim. If you don't have a vested interest, like did you put anything into it, then you can make a claim for it. So did anybody have any vested interest in that newborn? Did she accept welfare? Did we accept hospital pay? Did we accept any gifts from you folks? No. You know, me and her produced, that was the fruit of our labor. That's our product. So that's our property. Because if you want to look, where I learned this from was from John Locke. John Locke basically said exactly what I said, but he said that whether it's incorporeal or corporeal property, like your dreams, your hopes, your intellectual property, what you design, that's your property. You can make an exclusive claim to it that you're the one who, for the fruits of your labor, should benefit from it. Nobody else has the right to claim it. So saying to those women, do you believe that our state of Alabama has the right to claim my property? And they said, well, absolutely. I said, wow. They were going like, wow, I claim property. It was like 280 degrees, things hitting each other. Like, wow, where are you people from? So it's like, this was going to be a lot of fun. So they took us, they said, if you don't sign the paperwork, you know, they said, if you don't sign this agreement with us, you'll never see your child again. I said, is that a threat? They said, we do this every day, Mr. Lentz. I said, you messed with the wrong guy. So we left the hospital and they came running out of the elevator saying, you gotta sign this, you gotta sign this. Have a nice day, ladies. Came up and hit the elevator left. I said, that child better be here at 7 o'clock in the morning when we come back to feed him. He was gone. So we went through 30 healings, and the very last thing we had was an order to show cause. And if anybody knows what an order to show cause means, it means why are you here? So for 30 hearings, me and my wife, we got 17 attorneys. She got 8, I got 9. And nobody could ever find out why they took the child. They would never give you like a charge of abuse, neglect, anything. So it was great. We got to the very last hearing, and I had learned this stuff really, really well by then. And going to court so many times, it was fairly easy for me to move court. So I'll explain how we moved court in a little bit. But what was a lot of fun is we finally had a judge who was out of about 100 miles away, so we really had no skin in the game. When he sat on the bench, I set the rules of court, which was great. This is what happened because we were getting nowhere. If you don't establish the rules of the court immediately, you're going to get ran over. So I got lucky. Another judge was seated on our bench. She was the 9th judge. And I was dropping them like flies. And I said to the judge, first thing I asked the judge is, when is this court open? He says, oh, I'm not from over here. I've been appointed by the Alabama Supreme Court to sit here. Now, let me find out. Bailiff, when is this court open? He said, 8:30 to 5. I said, Judge, what do you think? I'm a clown? You think this is funny? When's court open? He said, 24/7. I said, 365? He said, yes. And then I looked at the prosecutor. I said, what is this term of this court? Is it 6 months? And it was a year. He said, no, it's a year. I said, from when? From the time I filed or by the time you sat? He said, by the time I was seated. Good. I said, it's going to be 1 year from the term from this day forward. It's going to be 1 year, right? So it's like, okay, we got the term down. I said, when is court in session? He says, whenever you wish, because it's my court. He knew it was my court. I'm the one who moved the paperwork. I'm moving the claim. I'm moving the case. This is my court. So he's like, whenever you wish. I said, and I looked at the prosecutor. So I said, the judge was over here. So if I wish to hold court at 3:07 a.m. On Tuesday, next Tuesday, what are you required to do? He says, oh, call, man. Let's be reasonable about this. I said, just answer the question. What are you required to do? As soon as I'm summoned to appear, I have to appeal. So it means like you have to get out of bed at 3:07 and start getting your butt down here. I go to the magistrate, or I go to the deputy. They wake up the magistrate's going to issue a summons to appear. They're going to call you up. You better appear around here, right? He says, oh, Cole, let's be reasonable about this. And I looked at the prosecutor and said, he's got to be here 307 as well, because it's my court. He said, yes, but let's be reasonable about this. I said, okay, Your Honor, what do you feel is reasonable? He said, can you give us 2 weeks, because I live 100 miles away? I said, I'll do you one better. I'll give you 4 weeks. He said, what? I said, I live 600 miles away. I got to take care of a farm. I got livestock to round up. I said, I got friends and family that are going to have to take care of this farm from while I'm gone. I said, 4 weeks is fast for me. He says, oh, I see. You're very reasonable. I said, I'm a very reasonable man to work with. Just don't mess with me. I know the rules of court. This is my court. So I did that one time with some man in Indiana. I was just on the phone until 2 o'clock in the morning. And we walked into the court building. And he says, oh, you have a cell phone? You got to leave it outside. Don't let cell phones in the building. I said, is that a public building? He said, yes. Am I public? He said, yeah. I said, really? So whose building is that? I said, it's mine. It's my building. It's public. I said, watch this. I said, I bet the security guards at the end of this scanning bank will know exactly where I'm going with this. Without blinking an eye, I bet they'll hit it right on the dime. So as soon as we went through, he says, the thing went beep, beep, beep. He says, you got a cell phone? Yep, I got one right here. He said, you got to take it outside. I said, where's the building manager? She's holding court upstairs all day today on the 3rd floor. Without dropping it, beep. I said, where's the building's manager? She's holding court all day on the 3rd floor. She's the head judge. She's the building's manager. Okay, what you folks call the steward. Okay? Say the Queen of England's got 100 castles, right? And there's the bombing of Britain that starts to commence. The only one that she's got to go to is, say, up in Nottingham someday. She said, oh, I got one in Nottingham that hasn't been bombed yet. We're going to hold court immediately. So all these castles have to be ready for the Queen to hold court instantly. So there's a steward or a building manager waiting for the Queen to arrive to hold court. So as soon as she gets there, there's no cobwebs or everything's where it's supposed to be, that she hasn't been here in 60 years, but everything's there ready for her. And that's why they keep these like court buildings, like castles, ready to fire up at a minute's notice. Same thing with the public court buildings. These are your courthouses. So as soon as I walked in, I called my Tweedledee and Tweedledum. There's 2 guys sitting at the end of the thing. This is going down some stairs. I said to the guy, did you understand what just happened? He said, no. That's the building's manager. They're just waiting for a man or a woman, the public, to appear. They're here to serve you. So if I wanted to, I said, I don't live here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. But if I really want to make a case out of it, I could just go up there and talk to the building manager and say, do you realize this is my building. Thank you for securing and protecting my building and making sure nobody does any dastardly deeds while I'm gone. But you do know this is my building, and I no longer have to require you to carry out your rules. I'm going to set the rules of court. You do know I'm here now, and this is my building. That my grandfather and your great-grandfather, everybody built, human beings built this building, not a legal society. There's not one chef from the legal society that laid one brick in that building. So my friend was like, oh wow. He said, you're right, they are called building managers. They're building managers. That's what they are. Because that's everything I try to tell you folks all the time is no matter how far back in time you go, the only purpose of government is to secure and protect the property of man. So the first thing that you guys are getting wiped out of your brains is that I can't call him property, I can't call him property, can't call my kid property, can't call this property, I can't call him property. Because the only purpose of a government is to secure and protect property, period. I know so many women in the United States and Canada get their kids back by just going to court and says, I demand immediate return of restoration of property. Have you seen Exhibit A? Well, the one lady was Exhibit A, B, C, and D. Don't give them the kids. It's none of their damn business. Just say that's my property. Has anybody seen this? And it was great. I said, for the one lady in Canada, she's on my website, on my radio show. She said, I said, can you point out the woman who took your kids? And she said, yes, great. Then that was a robbery. So they have their own little website going on. I think they're called Surrey Jurors now. But I told the wife, you better not be on this because I didn't help you get back 4 kids to run a radio show. I said, you better be in bed at 9 o'clock. I was getting up to 6 in the morning to get 4 kids. So she's a good girl. She's a real good lady. Her name is Jessie. But what was funny is her husband, Jonathan Little, he did all this legalese guru nonsense. It was like 6 pages long. It was this nonsense they were putting into the court. And they said they were being laughed out of the building for the first time they went up. They by the time she came around to my show, it was funny, it was just like on bet. I said to somebody, I said, the first woman or first man called up, they want the restoration of their property, the child, I'll help them get it back. And, by the time we do the next show. So that's pretty gamey what I did. That's pretty insane. So some lady called me up and she said, well, she didn't tell me they had gun and drug charges on in Canada. That's not really, it's like gun and drug charges. You have gun charges, probably gun charges be here too. And they took all 4 kids. She was one of these folks that, tree hugging kind of thing. They won't inoculate the kids. So in a socialist state like Canada, that's pretty extreme to not go along with the community. So I said to her, this is going to be rough. And it's funny, I started to talk to her husband at first, and he just wouldn't stop with his Yahweh, all this crazy, free Montana, free land, he wouldn't stop. I said, look, is that your property? Yeah, just 2 sentences, let's get the hell in and out of court. And I said, let's try this. And every time he sent me something, it was always 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 pages. It was insane. I said, look, 2 sentences, 3 sentences, let's get done. Let's make a plan for the property and get home. So he wouldn't do it. I said, you got a wife? And he's like, yeah, let me talk to her. I said, this is all your effing fault, because you're dealing with a clown on camera, right? And she said, yes. I said, good, I can work with you. So, yeah, she was practical. I loved her, man. She was great. And so I had her writing back and forth to me to try to minimize the paperwork. I said, look, you're going to have to perform when you go to court. Look, what I do is like a lifestyle. It's a belief. It's a religion. I said, and then you have to understand the theory of what I'm doing. So it just comes natural to me to just totally say, who are you to tell me you own what? You tell me, you my dad? You created me? No. My creator has authority over me. What? No. You're just an equal man to me. You don't pay the roof on my head. I don't know you anything. So what was funny about this lady, Jessie, is she was getting the stuff shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. Thank God that it was getting down, but it was getting down to the wire. And I said to her, look, I'll write it for you. I said, look, it's going to be very simple. It's going to, I, Jesse Ustinall, require the restoration of property. So these are the A, B, C, D. My property has been robbed of me. I've been robbed of property. And see, the other thing she wrote was, if the property isn't restored, I'm going to hold the person in possession liable for $1 a second until the property is restored, until restoration of property occurs. So that equals to $80,400 a day. If you don't do the math, that's a lot. $1 a second. That's up real quick. But it doesn't sound like you're greedy. If you can do it in 1 second, hey, it'll cost you $1 to steal my kid, So that's pretty funny. So, but underneath there, I said, but I'll forgive those who trespass upon my property as I wish those to forgive me when I trespass upon them. So you give them a loophole out. You give them a way out. So the judges love it. So it's funny. They went to Queen's Bench in New Brunswick on a Thursday. And the court clerk went crazy, trying to rearrange the paperwork, trying to rewrite it, da-da-da-da. And they said, no, just let it ride the way it is. I said, they're going to try to change it on you. They're going to try to tell you that you're in Queen's Bench, not at Queen's Bench, because you're always at Queen's Bench, you're not in the Queen's Bench. It's like, do you want to meet at that big rock, or do you want to meet in that big rock? Because when you're in it, you're under the control of jurisdiction of that rock. You're an element of that rock. Or do you just want to meet at the rock and act as a man, independent of the rock? So, yeah, this is what's fun. It's all these years, when I ran out of money, I actually had to go study. So I actually wrote a law dictionary. So that's when I'm really good with words. Don't mess with me with words, I'll clean the clock. And you try. I love it. I mean, people try me. So anyway, Jesse said that the court clerk, when he got the head judge invited him up to his chambers. And the head judge said, this is some interesting paperwork, but why do you call your children property? Didn't Lincoln free the slaves? And she's like, well, they're my property because they're exclusive for me to use, and nobody else within the society may enjoy them other than I or my husband. He said, he's like, oh. She said he was like sucking lemons, saying, oh, can we just change it to children? And she said, okay. She got back down, it took her like 3 hours. No, like you guys, 3 hours, you're on the other side of the ocean, you know. 3 hours in Canada is like just going to the town for a bag of crisps. So she tries 3 hours back home from the courthouse, and she said, oh, it worked great. The court clerk went flying to the court, the clerk of the court went to the court clerk went running to the head judge. The head judge, we kind of got to meet the head judge of Queen's Bench. And we had a great conversation with him, and he gave us like, you know, he was a great guy. And the only thing he had us change is the word property to children. I said, and what did you tell him? He said, well, you know, we let him change it. I said, look, I said, you're lucky I'm not sitting on the other 2,000 miles away from you. I said, you don't understand what he just did to you. You get your behind back up there, and you put property back on, and you let it ride the way I said, you got to ride. She said, no. I said, ma'am, if you don't put property on there, I'm never going to talk to you again because it's going to fail. I said, I'd like God bet on you that I could get you back your kids. Don't screw this up. You may bore you if you ever want to see your kids back. Believe me, put the word property in. So she said, oh man, it's a 3-hour ride, da da da. I said, look, you don't want to see your kids, fine. You're going up for adoption on Monday, say bye-bye. So she said, okay, fine. Oh, she was pissed. So she went and did it, God bless her. So she said on Monday, there was 20 affidavits in the case file of wrong, the doctors, 4 doctors for each kid, government items, foster care providers, everybody had 20 affidavits about all the horrible things that she was doing. She asked me earlier in a week, she said, do you want me to get a copy of the case file? She said, like 6 inches thick with all these affidavits. I said, no. Don't ever challenge their beliefs. Don't ever challenge their evidence. Don't ever challenge their facts. It's like, if I believe in God, fine. If you don't believe in God, fine. I'm not here to prove your facts. I only know what I believe is true to me. If they believe that's true, God bless them. Let them prove it. So I don't ever dispute facts. I don't dispute evidence. My stuff is so quick and fast, it's scary. So what she did is, she said, no. She said to I said, don't. I said, what the 6 inches of evidence is going to do is going to make you, it's going to break your heart. It's all misdirection. It's all some sort of citations. It's all some sort of statutory code. It's all something that's supposed to make you guys scramble around and try to decipher their nonsense, to try to answer this nonsense. Because when they got nothing on you, they're going to put a mountain of evidence. If they knew, like you chop your kid's hand off, the piece of paper would be, she chopped the hand off. You know, you actually did something wrong. You actually did something wrong. But when they don't have anything, they make these mountains that you people try to decipher. So what was funny is, everybody went before her. She was the very last one to go. Her husband even said on the show, he was up there in the witness stand for an hour and a half, doing all this crazy free man nonsense. He says he knows he really effed up. Now, he said, but at the time, he thought he was doing the right thing. It's so funny. He said, so she took the stand, and they said, what's your name? My name. And she said, that woman robbed me of my property. I said, what? That woman robbed me of my property, and it's your duty as the government to secure and protect property. I would provide an immediate return to my property. Has anybody seen Exhibit A, B, C, and D? And the judge said, well, don't you want to work with us? Don't you want crisis counseling? Don't you want anger management? Don't you want drug counseling? Don't you want Alcohol Anonymous? Don't you want, she said, don't you want to do what's in the best interest of your child? She says, no, I don't want anything from the government. I can provide, I don't want any benefit from the government. And he says, well, don't you want to know why they robbed your child? I said, why would I care why a man raped me? Why would I care if somebody robbed me? I just want my property restored. So funny, the judge went like, the court will be in recess, so they all went outside in the lobby. So at 5 o'clock, they were told, go home. The court's closed for the day. So they said they came back the next morning, and the Crown came across the lobby when they seen it come in. And it had one piece of paper. And I said, oh, it's so funny. My right stuff is like in 22 font. So it kind of fills up a little bit of paper. And he said, who wrote this? It's like little faucet, who wrote this? And she said, I did. And he said, no, you didn't write it. Are you a lawyer? And she said, no. Do you want to be a lawyer? The Crown said, no. I don't want to be a lawyer. I just want the property. I want property. I want to go home. So, well, I said, she said on the radio, she says, what did they say to you? They said, well, whoever wrote this was scared poopless. I said, what did they say? They said, we're scared shitless. Who wrote this? And she, thank God, she didn't say some crazy guy in the States, man, who wrote this. She just said, she wrote it. So, yeah, whatever. You wrote it. Well, when do you want your property restored? She said, I want it now. She said, well, they're all over the province, and it's going to take a while to round them all up. She said, can we have him back by the end of the week to you? And she said, okay, that'll be fine. So she said, she said, but what about all that testimony from yesterday? She said, all 20 people removed their affidavits from the case file. Because then they're going to be an accomplice to a robbery. See? So, like I said, yeah, see, nobody quotes me on my radio show, so it sounds kind of fun.
Did she get paid out for the dollar a second?
Did she do what?
Get paid for the dollar a second?
No, because you'll forgive those who trespass upon your property, there's always only, right, so you settle it quick. See, because that's what happened to a lady in New Mexico, a little Mexican lady, crazy lady. If anybody need a kid taking away his car. But anyway, okay, because her husband called me up and said, can you help me with this? You know, it's like not my kid, so I'm not sure if I want to take a DNA test or be bound to a 3-year-old that's going to be probably taken into foster care until she's 18. I said, okay, tell me what's going on. And then he told me that his wife was in a pickup truck with her brother, and the 3-year-old was in the back in the car seat. He hit a car, boom, the baby fell out of the car seat. And the mom said, hey, slow down, man, you're going too fast. You know, hit the ball, baby died. And I was like, well, if you weren't so drunk, you would have put the baby in the right way. And then she said, I'm not drunk, and then she started beating her brother. So her brother was like, you know, pulled into the police department and said, hey, you know, my sister beat me up. Help me. Before we go, you know, crash or something, get her out of my car. So then she starts beating up the police. And he said, oh, and don't forget her kid, take your kid with you. Nice brother. So the kid went into foster care. So obviously the mom had, you know, domestic violence charges on her. She had hitting police officers, all kinds of drunk in public, all kinds of nonsense on her. And made a very simple 2-sentence thing again. I mean, the immediate restoration of property. And well, I'm going to sue you for, I'm going to require the compensation of the fair and just compensation of $1 a second for every second that the child held in naked possession. So it was funny. The husband was on my show. When you go on the show, it's that talkshoe.com, and there's a 44-minute clip, I think, in September, and the husband explains what happened in court. He says, I think the prosecutor really messed up. I said, oh, what makes you think so? He says, because they thought this 2-sentence thing was funny and cute. So the prosecutor said, oh, you want to see what their whole line of strategy is? I, a woman, and then her name, require the immediate restoration of property. Have you seen Exhibit A? If the property is not restored immediately, it's held in naked possession. I'm going to require $1 for every second is being held in such a manner. And that was it. And the husband and the wife thought that they were mocking him because everybody on the barrister's side, on the prosecutor's side, was laughing. The judge wasn't laughing. So she took the stand, and the judge said, did you write this? And she said, absolutely. He says, so you require your property restored, but how about AA classes, and you still got criminal charges of fighting with the police and drunk in public? You know, you don't do it in the best interest of your child, you don't want to do parenting classes, you know? She said, sir, I know your job is to secure and protect property. They got my property, secure and protect it, return my property. And he looked over at the prosecutor and said, return the property. And he said, but Your Honor, he said, you know the law, restore the property. And the 3-year-old ran over. But the husband didn't tell me that. He said, and serenity was restored. So the serenity was restored. I said, I don't care about peace, tranquility, serenity. What happened to the kid? Doesn't have a kid. So for the last 15 minutes, you hear me arguing with the dad. Tell us what happened to the kid. You know, serenity was restored. I said, what? I said, oh, not Betty or Sue or Jackie. Oh, you need your kid serenity or colorful names. Oh, you crazy people. I said, so you got your kid back, right? I said, yeah. Oh, happy ending. I said, oh, next call, you know. I realized I was goofing around for 15 minutes, just not understanding that there's an adjective, you know, like, what? You need your kid, what? So I was like, oh, I'm done with this, you know, so like I said, this works out really quick and really easy. I guess Ali would, you know, tell you what I did for him in court with 2 sentences. It was extremely simple. All it was his name, that he was a man, and that he required of you to place your case before Queen's Bench. And then the second sentence was, once we get the Queen's Bench, the plaintiff must press the record. That's it. Press the record. Okay, like Elvis Presley. Okay, like when you put stuff in these nonsense courts other than Queen's Bench, you're fine. There's never a recording of it. Recording is viva voce. So if you wrote the best song in the world, you're never going to get a Grammy Award just because you wrote the best song. Elvis or Madonna or somebody, Michael Jackson's going to have to utter it, produce it with vocal cords. They're going to produce the record. Nobody ever stands in open court and creates a record anymore. Everything's just filed. No man ever takes the bench on their side to utter that it's true. They never take a piece of paper and say, everything I verify, everything on this piece of paper is true, and let me press the record. This is what's true. This is what this man done wrong. Nobody stands in court and presses the record. You only press the record with the voice of man. But like I said, most of you folks know, like a judge or a plaintiff or the bottle or this does not have vocal cords. A judge is not a man. Oh, we'll do that slideshow in a minute. We'll show what a man means and what a judge means. We'll understand, we'll explain to you folks what that means. The hierarchy of when you walk into a court. And you want to do that? Okay. Oh, this is, we always try to twist this stuff with some crazy thing. Okay? My style, if you try to figure it out yet, oh, that's just a phone, that's cool. That's some tasty thing, that's what I read now. So, I'm good background noise. I do my best work on the radio anyway. But, what we're saying is, maybe you guys understand where I'm going here. Gandhi did passive resistance, okay? So what that meant is there's 1 billion Indians that got their heads cracked open with a baseball bat. So there's still was some sort of violence there. So what I'm trying to tell the folks is do passive compliance. When they order you to do something, that's a man ordering you to do something. And people from Indiana got on a radio show the other day, and when the judge ordered him, the magistrate ordered him to approach the bench, he says, the guy yelled out and said, you're ordering wish. He said, yes, it is. He says, good. And he started to get up. He said, I hope you got your checkbook. And the judge ran off the bench. And the U.S. Marshal said, I've never seen a judge run off the bench. Because was that your wish in order? I hope you got your checkbook. The judge knows what you're doing. You're carrying out his order. You're going to demand fair and just compensation. The judge laughed. He realized what he did. He said, oh, man, now I get it. So that's what's fun. So what I'm trying to say is, why can't we just passively comply? Because I hear so much stuff on, see, I have a farm up in the mountains, and I can go to my website, broadmind.org. I have videos of me walking up the mountains. You got all the cattle, you got like dozens of cats walking up the mountain behind me. It's really quiet. But I put internet radio is the only radio I can get up there. So I started listening to these crazy freeman movements, and it's very violent. And they're very aggressive towards the police officers, very aggressive in the courts. So like, man, you guys are going to get your heads cracked open. You guys are crazy. This is what they want. They want you guys to get aggressive. They're going to burn the cities down to the ground with your riots and protests. They're going to come back, and they're going to buy everything for pennies on the dollars like they do every, 80 years to the next generation who doesn't realize the game that they're getting involved in yet again. So I'm like, no more of this nonsense. So I started getting on radio shows and saying, hey, this stuff never works. Why don't you try just to accept their freaking orders and demand fair and just compensation? And this is what me and Polly printed out today. So you guys kind of have an idea. I was trying to walk around earlier and showing people this stuff. But yeah, you can pass it around. I think you've seen it. I don't know if you've seen it. Oh, this is a fun one too. Yeah, just fold them, thank God. Just pass them behind you, man. So these people can kind of start getting the joke for what they're doing. So all we're basically doing is when somebody orders you to do something, let's go with the Nuremberg trial. That's the most famous order case in all time that I could possibly imagine, is the Nuremberg trials. Remember the Germans' defense while they killed, millions of women and children? Who was carrying out orders? And what did the court say to them? Fine, you're carrying out orders, you're carrying out orders, you're still going to be held liable. You replace you order. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. You're still going to be held liable. Just because somebody ordered you doesn't mean that you're not going to be held liable for it. It's like, I'm just doing my job. Oh, good, you're just doing your job. Lovely. So I'll just give you a quick story of what happened the other day. Then this man from Texas came up and actually hung out with me on my phone for 4 days to see if I was for real, because it actually worked for me. He said, I got to meet this guy. So it was funny. This guy's a troublemaker. He's one of these females who really want education. And I'm not into that at all. And I just leave that alone. And he said that he was listening to my show round the clock. He said, this poor Texas Ranger pulled him over when he was all jacked up on the call. He said, oh, so jacked up on you, Carl? I couldn't wait to get stopped. I said, I think you stopped on purpose. I think you were speeding on purpose. No, man, I wasn't, yeah, I know you did. So anyway, he got pulled over by a Texas Ranger in his van, his work van. And he does satellite installs. He put one up in my house when he came over. Yay, so now I got Skype. But when he got pulled over, the ranger said to him, license registration. He says, is that in order? The police officer said, absolutely. License registration. He said, then the police officer, the ranger said, step out of the van. He says, is that in order? He says, absolutely. He stepped out of the van. He said, step to the back of the van. I'm going to search your vehicle. He said, is that in order? He said, absolutely. He said, put your hands on my car. And he said he couldn't help. He started laughing. He's like, oh my God, this is exactly what Carl said you were going to do. He said, Carl, who? He says, this guy on the radio. He says, this is exactly what he said you were going to do to me. He says, what? You're going to give me orders. He's like, right. He said, because you're just doing your job, right, Mr. Ranger? Nothing personal. This is, I'm just doing my duty, I'm just doing what I got to do. And he said, yeah, I'm just doing my duty, just doing my job, right? He said, so you were ordered in this squad car to patrol this precinct tonight, right? Yeah. And then the shift commander gave you this call. You were ordered by him. And then he was ordered by the captain, who was ordered by the commissioner. And at the end of the week, you guys are all going to fill out some sort of, invoice. And you're going to require fair, just compensation for carrying out the orders. So guess what I'm going to do when we're done with this little get-together on the side of the highway? I'm going to create an invoice, and you're going to compensate me for carrying out your orders. So the policeman just said, the ranger just said, he came back to the paper, said, you're making me nervous. Get out of here. And I said to him, what did you do next? He said, I got out of here. He said, oh, damn, you're supposed to say that in order for me to get the hell out of here. And he would have just took the pages and went just, I don't know, you come out, do whatever you want, man. So what I'm trying to say is, my uncle was a New York City cop back in the 70s, real bad time, New York City cop. And he broke every traffic violation in the book. He drove just like me. Good uncle. And he refused to do quarter. He wouldn't do it. His name is Gary Plummer. He refused to do quarter. Wouldn't do it. So I said, if you don't get your quarter up, we're going to ship you to the worst section of New York City. He said, do it. He said, what? He said, do it. He said, really? Yeah, do it. He said, okay, we'll make a deal with you. If you execute 1 year of felony warrants, for criminal warrants, and you survive, we'll let you write a desk for the rest of your career as an NYPD officer. You got it. So for 1 year, he was up in the Bronx, kicking in doors, dragging out the felons, because he would not do quotas. So I'm telling you, these cops don't want to do quotas. They want to catch bad guys. So if we could start turning in these invoices to their superiors will say, stop giving out tickets, stop ordering people, stop doing quotas. So the cops are going to love us. When I met the U.S. Marshals and I let them on this joke, they love me. They're like, oh my God, we're kicking little old ladies out of these mortgage foreclosures. Oh my God, if you could teach these people, we don't want to kick little old ladies out because we live in a nice Shenandoah Valley, Virginia, and they have to kick out nice little ladies in the mountains, which they live there their whole lives. So we hate doing that job, but how are we going to get around the call? I said, I got a trick. We're going to play on the people who give us orders. I said, we're going to demand fair and just compensation. So I explained it to them for about 2 hours at the U.S. Marshal's office in Roanoke, Virginia. And they were like, oh boy, I'm on the radio show, I explained, or somebody else's show, I explained. I said, oh man. They said, wow, how to go to the U.S. Marshals today? And I explained everything that happened. So I had a lot of good, those are good guys. And they said, look, this is the courts are going to come after you, Carl. You didn't realize this. He said, that's who sent us to come talk to us in the first place. Well, we couldn't find you in the mountains, so you had to come out. I said, yeah, my sister didn't appreciate you coming into her classroom 3 days in a row saying, where's your brother? In front of the kids. That's not nice. She said, well, we got you out of the mountains, didn't we? Yeah, but still, that's not nice. And they said, well, the courts are scared of you. You put like a 4-page lawsuit in there. I said, what are you doing? I said, basically, I'm calling the charter of the state of Alabama. I said, how? I said, it's in your book, U.S. Court's book, it's in the state's constitution, and the United States Constitution. I'm calling that charter. They said, how'd you do it? And I showed it to him on 4 cents. He said, oh my God, that's genius. I said, yeah, it's your words, it's your book. I said, this is going to be fun. So he was like, oh, you go get him, Tiger. Like, go get him. Go, we're behind you. And if anybody from the courts ever say to come out there and mess with you, we got your back. We're going to write such nice things to the judges and the magistrates that they better never, ever say anything bad about you because we're not going to believe it. We see they did, because it was funny, before I put that little 4-sentence lawsuit in, that was in November. Me and my sister went there like September and October, and we went to the U.S. Marshals, who were the office underneath the courthouse, the court clerks, and we tried to present it to the U.S. Marshals Legal Division, because I said, you really need to read this little lawsuit I'm putting in. Why? Because you really need to understand what I'm doing, because when they understand what I'm doing, they're going to have you come find me. They looked at it, it looked like Fred Flintstone wrote it. It's like, I require trespass, what? This is silly. What? Just file it upstairs with everybody else. So much fun when they called me. And I said, do you remember who I am? When I went down, he said, I remember you and your sister here like a month ago. I said, yeah, and you just laughed at us and said, yeah, well, that's a cute lawsuit. Get out of here. They said, yeah, well, now they want you to explain what the hell does this mean. I said, oh, you want to say how this mean? I'll explain to you. You got some time? And I actually had the proof of out of the U.S. Code book. It was like all state courts are common law courts. I was like, okay, that's like some U.S. courts.gov book, right? Yeah, all state courts are common law courts. And they said, okay, what's common law court? The common law court all state courts are common law courts. I said, okay, common law courts. All common law courts move under a court of record. What's a court of record? The magistrate is independent of the tribunal. So in the United States, we have courtrooms in Virginia. The magistrate in the federal court sits behind us, and the plaintiff and the defendant sits side by side, and we talk to the jury. Or the magistrate sits all the way off to the left. He just stays out of the view of the tribunal. So this is what we used with Bali's case. We used Blackstone's Commentary, Volume 3, Section 378 of trial by jury, where the jury at its own has it in peril to get the jury's duty of determining not only the facts, but get to the judge of the law. So Bali will tell you that worked great on Monday. But like I said, all I'm trying to do, like I said, explain to the U.S. Marshals, is that this is a court of record. It's all going to be determined by a trial by jury. The magistrates and judges, U.S. courts, the title, we're not going to meet in the United States District Court, we're going to meet at the United States District Court, so we don't have to be bound by the rules of the United States District Court. We're just going to meet at the building that everybody knows in town as the United States District Court. But when we get there, we're going to be in a court of record. We're going to be in a court of record when I work for Bali and his family. So what I should do, I'm going to let Bali explain what happened on Monday, because that's a pretty good lead up to it. So go ahead, Bali, tell them what happened in Monday.
Just Jesse,
Yeah.
Everybody in? Yeah, so it was at the Crown Court, and Karl's nicely put those couple of sentences together. We handed it into the court, typically not on time, which is something I seem to always do. I'll live with that. That upset them for starters. So we've got there to court, expecting the usual kind of battle. And the first thing that my dad did, they got my dad to stand in the dock, and it was one of those lovely ones with the glass that makes it look like it's a criminal case, somebody got murdered. And this is all about a caravan bowling. So the first thing they did, they said to my dad, what's your name? And my dad looked at me and thought, oh yeah, something about name. What was I supposed to say about name? I looked at Karl, he goes, I'm a man. The judge looked at him, sorry, I'm a man. Pause. And then he said, okay, that's fine, sit down. You can't talk here, he said. And he said, we're just going to carry on. And I thought, oh my God, but we're going to have this same rubbish again where we can't talk, you carry on talking, oh, this is really getting crazy. And he told me to sit down as well.
So I was trying to pass notes to them, like, the judge is spot on. You're winning, you're winning. I was trying to hand them notes, like, dude, stop, you're winning. The judge knows the rules, stop.
But I'm just used to being shafted. So.
Yeah, what's up?
Default setting.
Yeah, great.
So, anyway, okay, I'll sit down. And then basically what happened after that was just amazing. The judge turned around to the barrister, bearing in mind 150 grand barrister, whatever the hell he gets, I don't really care. And he just turned around, and he was just my best friend. After all the 8 times I've been before, absolutely shabby treatment. This time, totally turned the other way around. And he fired questions to the barrister. And then I started to twig what was going on. They couldn't hear my dad, or any of us, because we're all man. And they're in the two-dimension.
In person.
They're in person. They're two ghosts having a conversation. Obviously, you can't. We're 3D. You can't talk in 2D. It's a bizarre concept, but that exactly was what was happening, which Karl explained afterwards, after our game. And what happened was the judge turned around to him, the barrister, and said, did somebody get raped in...
Oh, did you get the notice?
Oh, first of all, yeah, sorry, then, did you get the notice? So the judge said, what notice?
Yeah.
So I thought, oh God, here we go. The judge pretty much denied that he had the notice, which didn't quite know what the game plan was then. The barrister said, oh yeah, this silly little notice. And I thought, okay, where are we going? And then they basically had a conversation about what was in the notice. So I'm just a bystander listening to all this, and said, what did it say in the notice? And he said, not that. It said, what was the first point that was on there? It was the
witnesses.
The witnesses.
Who are these witnesses? Have you seen these witnesses? Why is it been held over the
That was it. It was the next date was due for the 31st of March. And he was saying, well, has somebody been raped in this caravan? I went, no. Has somebody been murdered in this caravan? And there was a long delay. No. He said, well, that's unusual. Why have you delayed it to the 31st of March for the trial? Because your colleagues saw fit for it to be 31st of March. But back on this side, I knew exactly why. Because each day, the ultimate fine is accruing every day. So by delaying it a little bit longer, you're adding another 10 grand or whatever it is.
£200 a day.
£200 a day it was, yeah. So, but anyway, the judge, I'm just bystander here, I'm just watching what's going on, thinking, where's this going? He turned around and just had a go at him and said, this is unacceptable. This is an absolute joke. Turned around to the admin staff and said, when's the next day? And said, the first week of January. So I said, right, change it to the first week of January. And he turned around to the barrister and said, about these witnesses, and he said, my witnesses may not be able to appear on the first week of January. And he said, I don't care about your witnesses, what about his witnesses? He said, well, he didn't even ask for any witnesses.
The reason why the witnesses were so important is because the judge informed the barrister, you do know you're going to Queen's Bench. You do know this, don't you? No more nonsense here in the two-dimensional courts. You do realize we're going to Queen's Bench. And it's amazing how almost nobody here knows what Queen's Bench is. And it's the people's court. And only man can appear. Everybody's stripped. Everybody stands naked before the Queen. There's no badges. So you better prove you did wrong and harmed. You've been harmed or injured. Or else you filed a false claim. You're gonna, whatever you wished on him, £200 a day, he could exact back on them. So it's like, well, you better move this up quick because these cons are in.
And the judge pretty much said, he said, you do realise what these guys are doing? And he said, and just started looking at the floor at this point. And he said, your three witnesses are not going to be allowable in the next court, the Queen's Bench. They're going to be classed as hearsay. And he just went,
He says, I'll get it in. He says, I'll get it in.
I'll get it in.
No, he won't.
What's he talking about? But the judge clearly told him that this is not going to be acceptable. None of these, in the admin courts, it's fine for an enforcement officer or two coppers to attack an ordinary man. But in the Queen's Bench, that's not going to work.
But they could attack a person. But the man is protected by these glass. I've seen the glass.
We don't
I said,
know.
oh, wow, you guys are protected in the third world. That's great. They're protecting you guys.
Sorry, what's it?
It's the second dimension, what do you know by that?
So PayPal or straw man, person, whatever you want to call it.
Rigid.
All that kind of
Rigid
nonsense.
codes.
They're all
Not flexible.
fictitious, aren't they? We're
They're not fluid.
Fiction.
The third dimension is fluid and dynamic. Second dimension is statute, and it's rigid. And it's black and white. And it is what it is.
It's not living.
Right, it's not living, right. It can't think, it can't speak, it has no voice in the Queen's Bench. It has to be supported by a man. All this paperwork has to be supported to be negotiated before the Queen. And that's what the judge was trying to explain to the barrister. You do realize you do realize you have no case in Queen's Bench. Because having Queen's Bench, there has to be a wrong. And you folks don't realize wrong is the worst word in the English vocabulary. Because wrong means that you knew what the correct thing was to do, but with deliberate, malicious, and willful intent, you decided to cause harm and injury to another man or lying. So when you say to somebody in that court, you did wrong, the judge was poop a pecker, because that's the worst word you can say, wrong. That's the worst word you can say. And that Judge Gregory,
Judge Gregory,
he's the best damn judge I've seen in this country, man. I want to write him a thank you, and I said, that was magnificent. Oh, I'm telling you.
he's my best friend, unbelievable. But the summary
He
out of the
hated
whole
him at
thing,
first. Let finish the rest of the story. See what a great thing judge is. That's it. The judge is doing great. Well, go ahead, keep
so
going.
no, basically he said, he said to the barrister and said, I suspect, and I know you need to talk to these guys on the way out. You know, I think you're going to have a tough time in the next court. So the barrister's still looking at the floor. Just as then it was all kind of winding down, you know, we've got the dates, okay, we've got the dials, we're almost pretty much finished. And I thought, well, it's my time.
Yeah. That was that.
I thought, oh, I'm not going out and start.
I'm not a huggy person. I don't want nobody to hug me.
So I started having to go at the judge.
Yeah, he started going to the judge, and they all started to go after the judge. His dad, his brother. I said, oh my God, you guys don't shut up. Because as soon as you novate, I don't know if anybody knows what a novation is. Does everybody know what a novation is? Okay, novation. Say I put 2 sentences in there for their family. They don't want to appear in person because a person is a man within a society that holds a certain office and a duty to perform a certain function within that society. So if he doesn't want to be part of the legal society, he won't appear in person. Not in their society, but I'll appear in person before the Queen. I hold a duty and allegiance and authority to the Queen because the Queen is actually the accumulation of the people. She actually represents the people. So yes, do I have a duty to my fellow man? Absolutely. Let's go talk about this before the Queen. So what happened is these folks started to blow their gaskets again because they were realizing that they were not being heard. Thank God the judge didn't allow them to be heard because of the 2 sentences I put in order to throw in the bin. And like, oh, a novation means if you have a piece of paper before the court and you start speaking and you say anything other than what's exactly expressly written, expressly, not implied, expressly what's on the paper, and you try to imply what you think that word means, you try to define it for them, you're creating a whole new contract. So whatever you put before the court, all those 10,000 documents you put in, the moment that they recognize you and allow you to speak in person, everything you put before the court goes in the dustbin, and I will create a brand new contract. So you wasted your time, you wasted my time, and I was going to say, oh, no. You're not flying me over here to make me look stupid. I said, that's it. So I grabbed his dad and took him out of the court. I'm like, oh, bailiff, I got this. And I took his dad, and I grabbed his brother, who's his brother. I grabbed his brother, said, get out of here. I grabbed Bali, and I was pushing Bali backwards. I looked at the barrister, and I looked at the magistrate, and I said, you are not in their case. This is their case. We are going to present our case and define them in our case before Queen's Bench. Get out of here. You're a guest here. He said, you're a guest. And most people don't know guest in Greek means a hostile stranger and to be very wary of. Guest is not a nice word. And the judge said, you're a guest here. You like act accordingly, you better run. Because you're a hostile enemy, you're a Greek that popped out of a Trojan horse. You're not welcome and you're dangerous. So you better get out of here. So thank God we got him out of there. And we sat in the hallway and we waited. And then the barrister, he said, that's the barrister. And he came to court plenty of times with other people. He said, but nobody ever did what I did. I jumped up and I said, hey, barrister, hey, maybe you don't realize what we're doing here. Do you realize we're not in person in your society? Do you realize we're just a man that acts, with other men, and we're going to meet in Queen's Bench? Do you understand the dynamics, what we're doing here? Do you understand where this is going? Do you realize you have no case? And if you make us create a case, do you realize we're going to hold you liable as a man? Making a false claim, making a false case against this man. And he's like, I don't feel comfortable talking to anybody other than the defendant at this time. Because it's a very simple rule. Everybody, what's the easiest way to find it? Habeas Corpus Act of 1679. I think it's either Rule 2 or Rule 5. That's the only two I ever use all the time. The plaintiff must appear. So anybody who's moved, oh, I love doing this in the United States. I have so much fun with people tax court. I get them in and out in 2 seconds. And I even got invited to do a national convention for public defenders, federal prosecutors convention this year. It's fun because they wanted to know, what do we do when we see your paperwork come before our desk? I said, run like hell. Just throw your case in the dustbin and run like hell. And make it unanswerable because the plaintiff must appear. So, the Habeas Corpus Act is a very simple act, and every single one of you free men get it effing wrong. So bad, it's scary. You think it's a get out of jail free card. It's not. That's not even close. I think the Legal Society puts these little misnomers in there, and they're just misdirection all the time. It's ridiculous. If you read it, it's very simple. I say there was a Duke or an Earl, whatever you guys got going on here, a couple hundred years ago, after 1215. Whatever you had going on, other than the king of the queen. And somehow
You've got a lord here.
What's that?
Got a lord here.
Uh-oh, got a lord. Uh-oh. So there you go. So there we go. We got a lord here. So say you trespass upon the lord's tenement. Say you trespass upon his lands that he's got control over. And you trespass upon his lands. And you steal an apple, you kill a deer. Well, he could say, you know what, that's 20 years of hard labor. You start going to work. So you get word out, or your kinfolk find out that this lord is holding you. And you can say, wait a second, as a man of the, subject to the king or the queen, I have the right to have a trial of jury by my peers. So even though I'm being held, habeas corpus means that this lord has to turn over, like say, I trespassed upon his land. I require of this lord to take my body and drag before a king's bench or queen's bench. Okay? That means I have the right to a trial by jury. So the jury of my peers, will say, this was the custom of our people, that we just wander across the land and we pick apples at will, or we kill deer at will. We didn't know that we were doing wrong, the big word. So the peers would sit there and say, no, that's the customs of a guy like Karl who comes from the States, this is what he does. And the Lord said, well, you can't do that here. So they would realize that I had no willful, malicious intent to cause you harm, injury, or lie to you. Contract with you. I had no idea what your customs were. That's called common law. Customs are in a hierarchy of law. In any common law land, customs reign supreme. The statutes are so far down, it's scary. If my stuff, I'm telling you, will not work in France. Will not work under any Napoleonic code. Any place that's got a code for it, it will not work. So that's why they're going to get this one world order in, so no matter what you do in France or Uganda or Bangladesh, it's going to be the same crime universally. They wouldn't be Star Trek kind of clowns. They wouldn't be one galactical federation of planet. Everybody's going to be treated equal, so everybody's customs are going to be squashed until you conform. So this is what I say to people. Some people get upset with me. I say, look, you folks, you got the Jamaican connection, work with your people. You got the Eskimo people, you work with your people. Like, what? Because you know your customs, practices, policies, and beliefs better than anybody. I can't come into the Jamaican culture and say it's okay to smoke ganja to get 10-year-olds. Well, that's when we get in touch with great-great-grandma. To me, I think that's insane. So, but it's not for me to judge. Is this your belief? Is this your religion? Is this your practice? Is this your policy? God bless you. It's been working for you, obviously, 10,000 generations on planet Earth. You don't need my help. Do whatever works for you guys. That's just my belief. So common law is basically the customs of the people, what works with those people. It's not a code because my beliefs and my codes are not going to work for the Eskimos. They say the Eskimos need a 50 cal, like a half-inch bullet to make their kids go to school to get past the polar bears. Now, obviously, you don't need a 50 cal to go into New York City school to get past, a sewer rat. So it's ridiculous. So you can't make a federal law that says that there can't be no guns on the side of a 50 cal or 22 caliber, because it doesn't work for the Eskimos. As soon as they step out of the house, they're going to hit the polar bear with the 22, and the polar bear's going to eat them for lunch. It's not going to work. But they're going to try to make this universal code that they'll get a 22 or bigger. Well, what about the poor Eskimos? They're going to be eaten for lunch if they actually try to comply and submit to the code. So you have to get there's a balancing act between code and common law and common sense. There's got to be a balance there, and they're just trying to tip the scales that you folks don't even know what common law is. And I can't believe when I explained to you folks what the Book of Dome was, or what you guys call Doomsday Book, the 1081, you guys have no history, no clue of your history. They're not teaching you guys. You guys don't even know what the Queen's Bench is. And I have to teach the Canadians this. I said, do you understand this? What a lovely benefit you have? You folks, does anybody in this court even know where you submit a... Don't tell them because you just found out today. Does anybody know in this room where you file the first piece of paperwork in Queen's Bench to have a claim heard in Queen's Bench? Unbelievable. That's so far. No, where? Where? No. And it starts with an S. No, you're wrong. What? Where is it? Salford.
What?
Okay, explain how it works. He just found out today.
Salford.
Tell him how it works. Tell him what you did.
So basically, you have to fill out the application form.
No, you don't have to fill in an
Well,
application.
that's
You
what
make
they
your own
want you
claim.
to.
Right, you want to create, you want to be the creator. At all times, you want to do, when you file a claim, you want like this. No machine language, no, you want this, the written word of man. Now, if you write chicken scratch, like I do, obviously you want to look for the machine language one behind it so the guy can read it. But obviously you want to make your claim in the form of the hand of man, okay? So when you submit your claim, you want to do it in the form of man. Oh, let me finish off, sorry about that, Lord, guy, I forgot about the habeas corpus thing going on. What happens is when you have a trial by the jury, the plaintiff must appear. Because I have a right, even though I'm some lowly guy from the United States, and he's some big lord here in England, that I still have the right to cross-examine my accuser. So this is how I kick the butt out of the United States, well, the tax people in the United States. It's a lot of fun. Because everybody who gets their criminal indictment or criminal complaint says United States of America versus John Doe with Bob Smith. So I always go with Bob Smith, and I always meet the federal people and say, oh, good. We have the right to cross-examine our accusers. That's the plaintiff. So, the United States of America, when will they appear? Because I have the right to cross-examine my accusers before a trial by jury. Is that not correct? Yes. Well, when will the United States of America appear? Because I always wondered if you wore a skirt or slacks or jeans. I always wanted to meet this United States of America. I've always been curious. And so if you could produce the United States of America, I'll fly back here to Indiana to witness this, because, oh boy, that's going to be a first. And you're like, yeah, well, we see where you're going with this. It's like, yeah, so do you still believe that your plaintiff has a case? And you're like, you want to do a speaking tour, national convention? No, I got this covered. They said, what should we do when we ever run into your paperwork? I said, it's unanswerable, isn't it? 1 sentence, 2 sentences, I'm done. The plaintiff must appear. It goes back to Deuteronomy, it goes back to Hammurabi, it goes back to Syria, it goes back to everybody. Everybody has this common belief that if somebody's claiming that somebody's done wrong, I don't care if it goes back to caveman time. Did you steal my bone? No. Okay, do I get the right to confront my accuser before I get killed? Yes, let's do this. It's a very, very ancient rule. It's common law. It's unwritten. It's the custom, policy, practices, and beliefs of like an indigenous people. It's common law. Common law is not written. This English common law is some sort of legalese nonsense, well, trover and action, but that's written. Common law is what everybody knows, like, thank God my dad was German, and he did not know how to read around English. So I got very good, simple, practical skills from a man who was, you'd say he's illiterate, but was incredibly wise. And my mom worked for the IRS for over 20 years, so I got very lucky with her, that she helped prepare criminal cases, and she was a tax auditor for 20 years, so she taught me that it's all fraud. My mom said to me, yeah, it's great. And my mom said, this is a fun one. I finally heard this 100 times.
Hang on, I think being told there's a break coming up for a second, but we'll hold that one for a second.
All right.
Just for that quick finish off of the Salford, so if you go to...
Oh, yeah, tell the Salford one. Let me
fill out
some of that.
the application form. When I rang them up, they want you to fill out the form, so it goes back to what Karl always says about filling out your own forms, and if you create the document yourself, that's always beneficial. But basically, fill out the similar sort of thing. It goes up to Salford, and Salford will assign a court local to you, and that becomes Queen's Bench. Court being...
All your local courthouses have the capacity to hear matters before the Queen. You can hold it under an oak tree, you can hold it under an apple tree, you can hold it any place you wish to hold the Queen's Bench, any place that the jury...
It's not the court building.
It's not a court building.
It's not the court building, so it's irrelevant where it's held.
So he's like, where's the Queen's Bench? I hear this all the time, where's the Queen's Bench? But when I do that in court, some people in the United States I help, I'll explain how I helped this one guy. We flipped the court around in 3 sentences, and the judge said to the little guy, well, the prosecutor prosecutor just got this important document from you, and he requires to stay with the court for 30 days. Do you want you to grant them a 30-day stay? He's like, why? He says, because I would like to know, would you like to prosecute the prosecutor? He just flipped the court from the statute of administrative court to the common law court. He's like, nah, Your Honor, I'll give the prosecutor 30 days. He said he needs to answer my court. Because the little guy had no idea what I put him from. He just called me up on Sunday. He had to do something Monday for sentencing because he was going off for 4 years. And he flipped the court in a heartbeat. And the judge loved it. But we'll do that story later. And I got the paperwork that I gave
Whereabouts
him.
it's Salford Court, is it?
No, it's just an administrative office that's up there.
And then
If
you
you
pass
go
it off
gov.uk,
to your
it
local
will tell you
council, your local council.
all the details of that.
Was
But
that
that's the logic in order to get Tuckering's bench.
So,
But the most important thing is that a lot of people, well, some of the guys here will notice when we're talking about court, we're not talking about the building. They always want us to think it's the building and tie you down to their building, tie you down to everything else. But it is
So when you place it with the court clerk in what town?
Salford.
Salford.
Manchester.
What she does is she finds out where the defendant is located, and that's the courthouse that's closest to the defendant, where he's going to answer. You make it easy on the defendant, you don't make it easy on the plaintiff or the claimant. You go to the defendant, where he is.
Can you not motion the court to actually transfer it?
The defendant can. The defendant says it's out of it's too much of a hardship. But if it's like, say, Nike or something like that, and they have or say they have operations all over the UK, yeah, then you can bring it down to you. You don't have to go to where the Nike headquarters in Manchester or London or something like that. You could actually have them, if they do business in York County, you could have the court convene in York County. If they hold business, if they have business action, transactions in York County, yeah, then you can have it in York County. If they conduct business there, they get appeal there.
Cool. I think if anybody has some questions, write them down, have a little break. Have a comfort break, and anybody with the orders, if you can hold those up, we'll just collect those for a minute. They're the only ones we've got at the minute, so the rest are in print.
Oh, yeah.
And anybody who has any dying questions,
Let's say thanks very much to the first part.
welcome back. Order. I've got all the pads back, yeah. You get all welcome back, everybody. Hope you've had a nice break, lubricated, well done. Right, so we've got Karl again. So we just popped up this screen here to talk about the status. He spoke about it.
Let me say something that's asked me when I was walking around. I said, I hope this inspires a lot of people because my dad was a smart man. Like I said, he was German. So they're very practical people, like very mechanical oriented as well. So I was lucky. He pulled me out of school when I was 14 to learn the mechanical arts. Liberal arts, mechanical arts. So 14, you're looking at a guy who's 14 years old, he left the liberal arts and went to mechanical arts. I wrote a law degree because you messed with the wrong guy. So no matter, even though you think that I might have finished third in the bottom of my class, nobody else is sitting here in England teaching people law. So I try to help inspire people that don't worry that, like I said, there's one man, Brian Bonner, when he went to court, he said to people on our show that he has been, he attests that he had the capacity of a second and third grader. He wasn't very competent in court. So I just want to get this on there to make sure before we speak too much. What I did for little Brian Bonner, he came to one of these meetings that I had in Indiana. And what I did, I had no idea. That was the first time I ever did it. We used that big old whiteboard. And I said, during the week, I said, I'll have to wait for these people to have a trial with the Environmental Protection Agency. We're going to charge $25,000. They flew me out here to help them. I said, what would you folks like me to do? So I wrote a list, what they'd like me to talk about. I said, well, IRS, custody, child support, mortgages, foreclosures, back taxes. I said, okay, great. We'll cover this. So it's incredible that some clown like me could actually, like lawyers say, oh, I don't have a specialty in that field. I don't know how to answer child support or child custody, It's all very basic and simple. If you have a core belief, everything else just comes natural. Because somebody said to me, where can I read this? And I said, you people not here, the common law is not written. It's innate, it's inherent within you. God God gives you this. And when you see it, you'll know it. And you usually just gotta relax. And it'll come to you. The harder you push, the harder it pushes back. So just it'll work. And that's what I say to folks. If you folks have to understand what the folks at the legal system are doing, because you always see this, they're into this Illuminati stuff. They're all into this pyramid stuff. And you always see the handicap is always missing, because nobody can define the Creator. Nobody can define God for you. I can't define God. Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe we'll find out someday, maybe not. But yeah, flip through those, I think there's like 2 or 3 here. Another Supreme Being. Okay, you gotta understand Supreme Being. Go back to Creator. There we go. Let's go to a Creator. Okay, the Creator. This is what these folks understand. Is that these folks understand that there's a hierarchy. And if you look, and this is what was a lot of fun, some United States deputy prosecuting attorney, Sandy Callahan, yes, Sandy, he's a big man, don't call him Sandy, but he's a cupcake, he's a big man. He said to me, when my child first got taken back in 2001, 2002, when we went to the federal government to help find out why the state of Alabama won't give us just one piece of paper, why aren't children and child being held? They said, there's nothing I can do for you. I said, what? You're the United States government, you're the Almighty, you're everything. He's like, no, you can do this on your own. He says, once you learn how to be a man, it'll all come to you. And my whole family was there. We all came down from New York, Florida, Virginia. And I was like insulted. I was like, I'm the oldest son. I've been taking care of this farm and taking care of people since I was 15, 16 years old. What are you talking about? I'm not a man. He said, you're a man. You know how to get in and out of court. He said, you don't need our help. You got everything you got in you already. So I was so mad at the guy, but thank God he was a big guy too, man, because it would have been fun to scrap with this guy, because he really insulted me in front of my family. And I was big and said, not call me, I'm not a man. So, and when it finally dawned on me, after years in a law library, I looked in every single one of those damn books, and you will not believe what's the definition of man in their law dictionary. Does anybody know? There is no definition of man. You look at every single law dictionary, and the best one I could find was an adult male. What, cricket, grasshopper, flea, adult male bird, adult male wasp, and adult male what? You can't define the Creator. You can't. You can't be done. You're going to believe your Creator is this, you'll believe this, I don't believe that. So that's the same thing that's going on with the courts. We don't know what the Creator is, so this is when you always see that missing end cap thing. They all seem I, the little letter I. The letter I is beyond powerful. Every single one of my effing documents you see starts out with I. Lowercase I. And if you go to my website, it's called broadmind.org, you will see I explain capitals medius, maximus, minimus, and what a capital means and how it diminishes the capacity of the noun. Your status and standing, on planet Earth. So it's very simple. What I say to folks, when you go in as I, a man, because we are the reflection of God. We are the proof that God does exist. Or a Creator. Let's go. Intelligent design. Okay? These people who says lightning bolts, mud puddles. Okay, great. Wonderful. Is that your belief? God bless you. But at least understand how what you folks would say your legalese enemies believe. That's all I'm showing you. They believe. They understand when I, a man, appear, a judge is under me. And you folks in England know this really well. Queen's up here, king's up here, Lord Dukes are whatever. I know the candlestick, and we get the cobbler, he's all down here at the bottom. Yeah, the Lord knows. So anyway, when you appear as a man, the judge knows he has no authority, no jurisdiction. No jurisdiction, let me say, except for legally. What's the definition of jurisdiction? Control. That's all it means. Control. That's all it means. The judge knows he has no jurisdiction over a man. He knows a man is above him. Okay? People who listen to my show know I'm going with this story. Everybody's heard of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, correct? You guys think it's a monster, right? No. My dad was a high court judge at the time in England. He explained to her that's how corporations in England function within society, how they're charted, how they create, how they operate. All of it is when man takes something from nature and he plays God. And he thinks that he's going to create this wonderful gift and benefit the man, to serve man for all time, this wonderful creation. And he sets it out to the public, even though in his best intent and goodwill and charity for all men, that he created everlasting life, whatever, somehow something sometimes goes wrong. And that man is still going to be held liable for his creations and his acts. So even though he sets his corporation, his product, whatever he creates and sets it forth within the community, society, he's still going to be held liable if it turns out to cause harm, loss, injury to man. So that's what that whole story is about. So now if you want to just think it's a Holocaust, well, yeah, God bless you. You know, still think that, but find out who Mary Shelley's dad was, and you'll see why she came up with this story in the way the dad explained to him. So when you appear in court, in person, the person is a man, but has a duty to a society, and you appear to defend or as a prosecutor, the judge has authority over you. But the judge, when you only appear as a man, the judge knows he has no authority over man. Because in the next word I use that's powerful, beyond powerful, is that you require. And this is what I always do to everybody whenever I put any paperwork in for them, I say, I, man, require. Only a man can make a requirement. Only a man can state what he requires. Because require means by authority and right. Only man has rights because rights are your property. They're innate. They're part of your heartbeat, your dreams, your goals, your hopes, your aspirations. Your rights, they're your property, your intellectual property. They're your right, by right. It's your property. So a government is given a charter or is bound by a constitution. And what they have is, they don't have rights, but they have duties, obligations to perform in the benefit of man. Man does not answer to the government. And thank God, it's funny, people say, well, what do you think about Barack Obama? Ask me what I thought, Claire, ask me what do you think about Barack Obama? I said, I think he's a lovely man. I said, he's got beautiful kids, a beautiful wife. I bet if he's my next door neighbor and his dog ran across my yard, he'd pick up the poop. If I said, hey, dog laid a poop, I'm sure he's a lovely man. And that's the only way I look at him. If he's the president of Coca-Cola, the president of Cheetos, the president of the United States, the president of Mexico, I don't care what he does for a living. He's a wonderful man. Like I said to folks, my uncle is he's the vice president of Visa. So when the president dies, my uncle will be in control of Visa, which is probably the biggest credit card company in the world. So I know these people. My uncle was just a regular Joe Schmo like me. He volunteered to go to Vietnam. I got pictures of him on a tank crew with hills on wheels, smoking a cigarette, tough guy. He came home from Vietnam, GI Bill. Him and his wife started out as lowly clerks at his bank tellers. They built their own houses with their war buddies on Long Island in New York when they had time on the weekends. It took them years to build their homes. And now he's going to run Visa. So these aren't evil, Illuminati, crazy, mad dog, Jesuit priest that is disguised as the president of Visa. They're just normal blokes, man. Trust me. If you went and met my uncle, he was in Delaware, and you'd love him. He's the funniest guy in the world. I got it from him. But still, Claire said to me, Barack Obama. And I said, I don't have the quote here in front of me, but at 8:18 p.m. on October, I think it was 17th, that the United States government opened up back for business, he said, the greatest gift our founders gave us was the right to self-govern. That was it in a nutshell. That's the first time I ever heard a president of the United States back up my beliefs. And I said, wow, I'm done. And thank God this guy said it, because we are self-governing. We are our own governments. So when all you people are putting in paperwork and terrorizing these governments, what terrorist means is to interfere with the proper function of a government. So when they're doing it to me, I am self-governing. I am my own government. So when they try to terrorize me, are they trying to interfere with my proper function of my government? Yes, they are. I'm going to make a claim that they're causing me harm. Yeah, don't make me write a law dictionary. You're going to get hurt. So that's the concept of the Creator. So like I said, even if you don't understand, don't want to believe, because I was kind of disappointed. England didn't have this great, Church of England, rah-rah, everybody. When I say, oh, we had a funny story we had in Liverpool, some speakers, we got to get the video. Some speakers started saying, oh, I'm making fun of people who believe in God. He started writing out, oh, God people are so funny. He said, this is blasphemy, man, I ain't proud of this, what are you talking about? I gotta do something, I gotta strike me down. So I said, this is blasphemy. So I was like, oh, don't worry about it, listen to the radio. That's how you code people. I said, Bobby. So then the lady looked behind, I was like, no, stop. All of a sudden, the microphone went, the light started blinking, the guy's like, the lady yelled, blasphemy, man. And everybody said, everybody started laughing. I said, I think we're going to get off the God topic for a while. Because, like I said, I'm not here by my good looks and charm. To me, I'm here because something compelled me to do this. And I'm standing in here in England, and there's no doubt about it. I didn't make it out of 14 years old in school. How did I get to write a dictionary unless something pushed me to do this? Because I just want to be back on my farm. I got a beautiful farm. And, I can't wait to go back home. So like I said, you got to understand at least your, what you guys would call your enemies, they understand what I believe. They understand this. You can say, oh, the Jesuit priest, good, lovely. You know what? They believe that there's a hierarchy here. And they have some sort of like duty bound to upstand, to abide by their own rules. God bless them. God bless Judge Gregory. He seems what he did. I'm going to write him a thank you note. So that was lovely. That was a wonderful performance. I saw it in open court. He banished that barrister with the law, the common law in France. He would have been laughed at. But like I said, it was funny. The little guy, Brian Bonner, little Irish guy, he's on my radio show this weekend. He was on the beginning part of the show. And he had a problem. He said, child support. So the first day they got to Indiana, he wanted to discuss child support. So he's like, well, my friend just came out of jail for 4 years. In America, they're very strict with child support. So he paid, his friend didn't pay child support for 4 years. So he just came out of jail for 4 years. So he had to pay for 4.5 years, and this guy's 55 years old. He's like, I can't do 4.5 years. I said, well, then pay the debt. He said, what? He says, he drives like a little moped. He's got half his teeth missing. He's a little Irish guy. He ain't got no money. I said, yes, you do. You're worth value. Believe me, you got something that you possess that's worth great value. And he says, no, I don't. He says, what should I do? I said, I made it simple. Pay your debt, you deadbeat dad. And he's like, what? Pay your debt. And so it's funny, I did that on Monday. I said, look, guys, it's 10 o'clock, man. I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want to wrap it up. I'll come back and do this the next couple of days if you want me to, but I'm done. So the little guy didn't come back to the next 2-3 shows. It was funny, next 3 shows. So I hear him on Sunday night, he calls me up. And he says, I'm going to be sentenced tomorrow. What should I do? I said, hey, you little Irish guy, man, in the front seat in front of all that. I said, yeah. I said, I go, you deadbeat guy? Yeah. Why didn't you come back? He said, well, I was trying to walk around for tens of thousands of dollars. I said, well, you're looking for like a share mark or lucky particle. Are we going to find tens of thousands? No, you got something of value. Trust me. He's like, well, what should I do? And I said, yeah, I'll tell you what you should do. So I said, I thought it took a couple hours to do this, but he said it took me about 20 minutes. So I wrote, I am man, Brian Bonner, wish to settle the matter on the private side. That sounds nice. If you're always going to settle a matter of controversy that you have with the enemy on the private side, that's written in the Bible. And you folks, the hierarchy here loves the King James Version of the Bible in your country. Said, but at this time, I do not have access to more than $30 per month. Is there anything else? I said, how much you got? $1 a day? He said, yes. Good. I'll settle the debt. Is there anything else of value in which you accept as payment to debt, in which you claim is true, and you believe, because only man has the concept of belief, I owe you, and you declare is now post due. I require of you, which is plural, you is plural, we use always plural, it's never singular. I require of you, the person and the man, a prompt answer. As I believe, man to believe, you wish, to move your contentious claim against I and my person before an open court. And I claim this to be true, and I will verify it open court for the hearings above to be true. So, it was fine. He calls me up on Monday afternoon. This is, you can listen to it on the show, the 2 guys who went in and witnessed this. He said, Brian was the first one into the court. At 8:30 in the morning, boom, boom, they passed the 3 copies, court clerk, he gave it to the judge, he gave one to the prosecutor. And they went outside the lobby. He said, they were the first ones to go. I was like, oh my God. He said, we always like the last ones to go because we have no lawyers. They save us for last. He says he walks into the courtroom, the judge is looking at the little notice. And the judge says, oh my, he said, this Brian Bonner's got a little voice like this, but he's like this tall, red hair, you know. He talks like this. He said, oh, the judge, he's like here, the judge looking at the notes, says, oh, this guy's a player. Oh, he knows the words. This is good. This is good. This guy, oh, this is a player. Oh, strike one. Oh, strike two. Strike three. Oh, home run. This is going to be good. Oh, man, I haven't seen something like this in 20 years. This is going to be fun. So it's funny, he said the prosecutor, there's two prosecutors, there's a younger guy and an older prosecutor, and the younger prosecutor leaned over the older one and says, do you have to answer these three questions? And the older guy said, we'll soon find out. So it was funny, Brian said to me on that show, he says, Carl, he says, in June, I did this in July. In June, he tried to use the free man nonsense. He said what was going on, since he was a little guy, they wouldn't put a stunt like that on me. But since he was a little Irishman, he said the prosecutor kept doing this behind the guy's back. He kept doing this. They can believe he's putting a crown on him, like he's the sovereign. He's the sovereign. So the guy kept looking around, but said, what's the prosecutor? What's he doing? And the judge said, don't worry about it, your highness. Look over here, your majesty. I got some paperwork for you to sign. So they were mocking him with this free man sovereign nonsense, because I was one sovereign in a second. Okay, let me do sovereign now, because I'm tired of sovereign nonsense. Sovereign means that you're not bound by any rules. You're not bound by any laws. That's a sovereign. Okay. That God or whatever is a sovereign, because I'm bound by the law of God. So am I sovereign? No. Am I bound by the law? You better believe it. I'll be I don't be in England. You know, I'd be thinking in England, I get over gold or something. I want to be here. If I could do whatever I wanted to do and no law bound me, that'd make me a sovereign. But you are bound by law. Believe me, you got law of gravity, law of physics, law of nature. There's all kinds of laws that bind you. So don't even think that you're sovereign. That's a total joke. Good. I got some free men people here that said, oh yeah, no more sovereign, not paperwork. Good. No more. That's it. So what happened was, the month before, he was ridiculed. He was mocked, putting all this stuff in. And the older prosecutor said the older prosecutor will soon, the younger prosecutor will soon find out. So it's funny, the older prosecutor stood up in court and says, Judge, the state of Indiana is going to require a legal court to answer this very important document that Mr. Bond just presented to us. It's going to take us 30 days to answer this. Answer what? You claim that I owe a debt? You believe that I owe it to you? Or you declare it's not supposed to? How hard is this to answer? Is there a debt or isn't there? Believe me, if I was suing Bali for a debt, you better believe I'd say it's true. You better believe you owe me. And you better believe I declare it's not supposed to. Pay up. I have no problem saying that on a witness stand in 2 seconds. So the judge said, well, I might grant you legal court. Mr. Bond, but say you. And he says, well, he says the prosecutor wants 30 days. I guess I'll give him 30 days. He said, are you sure? He says, yeah, I guess I could. He says, because you know, it's your turn to prosecute the prosecutor. Would you like to put the prosecutor in stand? Would you like him to answer what you require of him to answer? You can do it. It's your turn to prosecute. So it went from an admin court to a common law court like that. The judge flipped it. Just that, like that. And Brian's like, nah, I'll give the guy 30 days, because he wants 30 days. I guess I'll just give him 30 days. So Brian Barker just slammed this deal. I mean, I would have paid to see the state of Indiana appear, because that was a plaintiff. I would love the state of Indiana appear and make that claim. And it was true. So it was great. It was called a trial by ambush. You're not really supposed to nail a prosecutor like that, on the day of the trial. It's pretty slick, but I had no choice. I try to give the other side fair warning that I'm going to do this to them, and they usually just drop it. That I can hop the tape like they do with Bali. They just disappear. But you can do a trial by ambush, but to me, it's not cricket. I give them a final chance. I never seen cricket, man. I never seen cricket. Yeah, I never seen cricket. But what was funny is how that ended was Brian and his ex-wife. Oh, because he was paying child support, but he was paying his wife directly. Like he put a roof on our house, like $6,000, and he was covering child support and stuff like that, but he didn't want to give the money to the state of Indiana, which was taking like 10, 15, 20% before they turned a little woman a kid. So he was a good dad. And so him and the ex-wife walked out of the courtroom. It was so funny. He said he walked past the bar. He said he walked down the aisle. He got to the door, and the younger prosecutor said, Brian, Mr. Bonham, wait. So he's like, he looked at this guy and said, oh man, I'm so busted. I don't know what he wrote. I don't know how to perform in court. I have no idea what, oh my God. They're going to say, wait, before you go, where's the money? So he said the younger prosecutor ran past him and his wife and opened the door for them and said, have a nice day, sir. So no more this crown bulge with one of them making fun of them, they realized there's a man that just walked through this court, and you might not ever see this ever again. So they witnessed like a miracle, like the king, the queen, a man appeared. Oh my God, we had one of them. And like I said, little tiny Irish guy, half his teeth missing, he pulled it off. So there's no way you guys could possibly mess this up except that you guys speak. Because the only way you can do it is by innovating these little simple questions that you put before the court. It's that simple. There's no way in the world you guys could possibly. I wrote this one. Look at how hard that was. Come on, are you kidding me? He said, I said, I wrote it for a couple of hours. He said, no, man. He said, we called you at 4 and 5 o'clock we were printing. I said, oh, okay, it just seems like it. Because I don't even watch it. It just seemed like it took me a couple of hours. He said, no, you were done, no man. And then somebody else asked me when I was back there, he said something about a Mark Stevens guy, I think it was you. Okay, that's what really got me into the internet radio scene, because on my phone, it's pretty cool. I play American Standard pop music. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's like, you know, the old Frank Sinatra being one. I play on the phone, it keeps the cattle calm, it keeps everybody relaxed. So as the twig snaps, everybody stays calm and listening to the American pop standards. It must sound ridiculous to anybody who comes up in that valley. It's like, who's playing this music coming from? But anyway, we got the internet radio shows because AM/FM doesn't make it over the mountain. We don't get stations in the valley. So we get internet, yay. So we get the satellite link up. So I heard the Mark Stevens show. So I was just doodling around on the farm, and all of a sudden I hear the doctor, Mike something. He's an actual general practitioner. He has 2 kids. He has like a nice car, nice practice, and he owed IRS taxes. So he believed he owed taxes. So what happened was Mark Stevens said to the man, do this, do X, Y, and Z when you go to federal tax court. And I was outside, I don't remember, I was working on a tractor, and on a truck, something. I said, oh my God, let me get in there, let me find this phone number, da, da, da. I called the station, da, 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 da. I said, get me on the show, this doctor's going to go to jail, this guy's insane, da, da, da. You know, he's not the defendant, he's the petitioner. He's going to go to jail. So I got on the show, and I said to Mark Stevens, I said, Mark, Doc, yeah, wait, this is, they patched me right in this, and this guy said it's an emergency, because Doc's going to go to jail. I said, Mark, when you go to the United States Federal Tax Court, are you the plaintiff? Are you the petitioner? Are you the defendant? He says, duh, you're the defendant. I said, Doc, one time the nearest IRS agent, make an agreement to pay the debt, $30, $1 debt. Believe me, get to your nearest tax auditor. She's a lovely lady, like my mom. She'll work out a payment plan with you until you understand what you believe and don't believe. Get your butt to the local IRS agent and make a deal, because you're going to jail. And now he's been in jail for over a year now. He says, no, I trust Mark. I said, dude, you are the petitioner. The IRS is the defendant. The defendant doesn't have to say a word in a common law land. You have to prove that you don't owe it. And who are you going to prove that to? A jury, trial by jury? They all believe they owe. How are you going to convince them? A petitioner is somebody who makes a supplication to a deity and they beg for mercy. So when you see all these things, petition the court for relief. Yeah, you're praying to your Creator. When you file a petition, you're making a supplication or a prayer to your deity or Creator for relief or for mercy. So all these silly petitions you see, you aren't giving them jurisdiction. You're saying, you're down here some freaking way. Because you're asking your Creator. So read what the word petition means. So it's a very powerful word. You got to be very careful when you petition, because you only petition the Lord with prayer. You don't petition anything else other than God. And God doesn't have to answer you. And He doesn't have to grant you a petition. He doesn't have to. That's why they could come back and they could say, denied like that. And probably nobody in this room knows what the word deny means. Deny means not true. So when you say, when a judge says, denied, you say, are you saying what I'm saying is not true? Take the stand. Do you have any first-hand knowledge? Are you third-party impartial witness to anything that transpired between me and the other party? How can you possibly deny it? How do you have any inside information? Were you there? How could you say anything that I said just now is not true? Because that's what deny means. Like, put it in that context and say that your mom denied your child an ice cream cone. Well, she said the ice cream cone's not true. Doesn't make no sense. See, so they twist the words. And like I say, what's funny all the time, if I was a judge, and I get asked to be a hearing officer at time, my 2 friends are judges, it's funny, I could get rid of every single case in 2 seconds. I just say to you, hey, Are you claiming that you suffer by the acts of that person on that side? Are you claiming that you're suffering because of the acts of the government? Every single person in this room would say yes. What does suffering mean? You had the ability to do something about it, but you laid back and you consented to it. When you had the ability to fight, you chose not to. So, did you have the ability to fight back? Yes. Did you choose not to? Yes. Because when you suffer from like a cold, you surrender to it. You lay down in bed and you're suffering because you're trying to shake it out, you're trying to wipe out a sweat, you're trying to realize, stop moving. If I move anymore and I have this high fever, I'm going to die. So now, right now you're suffering. And you know what to do, lay down and don't fight. I can get rid of every single phone, I can get rid of every case in a heartbeat. I just ask you now, are you suffering by the acts of the government? Yes. Next case. It's over. You said you had the ability at one time to fight, and you chose not to. Okay, well, let's go on. Suffer does not mean what you guys believe it means. So like I said, I just went to the dictionary, and I just went over and over, like, here, you flip to the word you real quick. Well, I don't really want to do that, man. That takes way too long. But the word you is plural. Oh, let's do actions for a second. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, I love this one. Okay? Like I say to people all the time, I can't understand what you wrote. I can't hear what you're saying by your actions. Okay? Everybody runs around. I love you guys. Man, you guys are too cute. You guys are funny. You guys all have these nice big seals and stamps and registered and certified, all this kind of silly nonsense. You got all this paper with all these silly stamps and all these silly seals. Oh, look, we put a crown on the king, let's make a lion, maybe a dragon. This looks real badass. I mean, this is really going to carry the day. You know, it's really cute how you guys do this. But this is the paperwork. This is 2D, okay? In a common law land, France, oh yeah, that'll carry the day. Over here in a common law land, it won't carry the day. Every piece of paper, every piece of document has to be supported by the voice of man, the voce. Everything has to be uttered, produced, to create the record, you know, the court. You take your nice stamp, seals, and you file it. File it with the court clerk. You put it in, you take your nice little suit, you pack it in a case, and you deliver the case with the suit to the court clerk. The court clerk then takes your suit, and you're supposed to try your suit on in open court. You're supposed to open up the case, click on your suit with all the accoutrements, the attachments, all the exhibits, and present this to the jury. And the jury's going to determine the merits of your suit. And it's just like an American Idol contest. Whoever can perform best on stage, believe me, I'm really good at performing in open court, I'm going to win. The other poor slob has no practice at this. No matter how good his suit is, if I can perform better than him, I'm going to win. It's ridiculous how trials and juries work, but that's just the way it is in the common law land. Oh, let me get rid of straw man once and for all. I'm tired of this straw man nonsense. You guys all think you know what straw man means, right? Every single person knows what straw man is in this room, right? Yeah, everybody's heard of it, right? You've heard the concept of straw man, right? Okay. All the straw man is, if you understand English history, that's one man asked me, he said that somebody's hitting him with gamma rays and stuff like that. And I said he wants to make a claim that the government's doing this stuff to him. I said, that's a lovely claim. You know, whatever you believe, God bless you. But the only problem in a common law land is you need a third-party impartial witness to verify in open court, with viva voce, that he witnessed them doing you harm, wrong, or committed an injury to your person. You have to have a third-party impartial witness. If everybody remembers the O.J. Simpson case in the United States, everybody knew that he chopped his wife's head off, and that poor kid. But everybody knew the rules of common law. You need dead men tell no tales. So since Nicole Simpson, or that poor boy, couldn't come up, Golden, that was his name, couldn't show up and appear in open court and verify by their word that he caused them harm, they had no case. So what everybody in the jury said was great, man. It was like this little old black lady in the jury. What a sweetheart, man. she said after 30 days, every single person on the jury knew, we all knew, Marshall Clark, the prosecuting attorney, would never have a third party, partial witness, ever to verify in open court that anybody ever seen O.J. Simpson hurt a fly. So until somebody can come forth and verify the claim is true, the scale of justice stands balanced. You have to tip it. And in O.J. Simpson's case, they had 10,000 million documents and evidence and blood samples and DNA and all this other stuff. It's all circumstantial. All circumstantial. I heard some poor black radio host in Atlanta going off and off about how Texas was being unjust to this black man who was found guilty of murder, but his DNA sample came back that it wasn't. It could not have possibly been him. It must have been like a white, Asian, Oriental, Indian guy. It couldn't have been this guy. And I called the show, and he was furious. I said, look, DNA is circumstantial. I said, I don't know how to explain to you guys. It's called a chain of custody. This same, did anybody have the sample that he had from 1977 in their possession 100% of the time until 2012? No. Could have the sample got corrupted? Yes. Could somebody switch the sample? Yes. How much access does everybody have to that sample? Who knows? It's been sitting there for 30 years. Anybody could have done a switcheroo, you pay the right guy, magic could happen. So circumstantial evidence, even though you guys like I was making fun of somebody before saying, I don't care about the evidence. Don't worry about that facts. Don't worry if they got a mountain like they had against O.J. Simpson. Don't worry about all that nonsense. Then they got the water man in the Commonwealth land. No. It's over. You can talk around for a year and a half, 2 years like Marshall Clark did. It's a total waste of time. I knew it was over in the first 4 days. As soon as she gave an opening statement, I knew it was over. It was done. I mean, the only reason why they let it go on is they want, those 4 attorneys wanted to take O.J. Simpson every damn dime he had. They all knew he was guilty. They were going to bankrupt the guy before the civil decision came. Like he did lose everything in a civil hearing, civil trial. They were going to get him before the Goldman family got him. So it was pretty wild. I mean, I loved the park. It was funny. I was walking through the Stardust, a real cowboy casino in Las Vegas, and everybody betting on it, and I knew he'd walk. And it was so funny. I was like, because it's all cowboy guys, all the white guys from Indiana, in Texas. So I was like, yes, yes. And everybody's like, what? I said, the American justice system prevails. I said, you still need a third, no matter how bad we all wish that he was found guilty. The American justice system prevails. You must have a third-party impartial witness to verify under oath or affirmation that it's true that they've been witness to something. No matter how bad we want to see the guy go, he's got his, he's sitting in jail now for some silly crime. But this is what I say to people. You need the words, and your actions speak louder than your words. So when you go to court against somebody, say, look, the bad lawyer guy will say, look, I got this piece of paper. He signed this piece of paper. There's a contract. It clearly shows he signed this mortgage. It's a foreclosure. This is a loan. This is a credit card. This is whatever. It's going to go on and on whatever this piece of paper says. This is great, lovely. Do you have anybody who's going to come forth with first-hand knowledge that that piece of paper is true? They're trying to be like, I can't verify anything up in court. I have no idea. What happened with the chain of custody of this thing? And this thing was written in 1992. Does anybody have any proof of chain of custody? Does anybody else have access to that document? Well, no. But the only thing that always nails you people all the time is, did you make one payment? If you made one payment, your actions speak louder than your words. You can say, oh, that payment's bullshit. That's fraud. Oh, they're not going to have anybody come forward. Nobody's going to come forward and testify the first time. Did you pay a penny? That's that case. Your actions speak louder than your words. So, but can you settle debt? Well, you better believe. Some man, Joseph, asked me to write something to him because they wanted 12,000 something pounds for something. And I said to him, honestly, how much do you have? He says, 250 pounds. Love you. So we wrote a letter for him, and they accepted it. So he would get evicted or foreclosure on his debt. And all the other side wanted proof of some sort of wage slips, you guys call them over here, and utility bills, and something else they wanted. He went bananas. He says, there's no true money, there's no this, it's all fraud, I said, dude, you don't think I'll take a house for 250 pounds a month? Are you out of your mind? They're willing to give you the house for 250. They'd give it to you for 25. 25 pounds. If you ask me to write for 25, they can't say no. They have to accept every offer. Tender to them. They don't have a choice. Because if he doesn't know the Bible. Does anybody know that Bible part? When somebody tries to make a payment on a debt, if you refuse to accept payment on a debt, there is no longer outstanding debt between the parties. Does anybody know that Bible part? I hope you guys do, because they try to bash that guys out of your brains in school. There's a lot of simple things that those people in those black robes, oh, Jesuits, believe in. Why don't you go read their rule book? It's kind of fun reading the Old Testament. The New Testament is boring, so lovey stuff. But the old stuff has got a lot of action, a lot of law, Deuteronomy, oh yeah, a lot of good stuff you can find. And understand how but usually your enemies are controlling you. So, like I said, is there anything else you want to say? Oh, you? Yeah, we can do I real quick. Let's do I real quick. That's fine. Doesn't always thing. I, a man, Karl Lentz. By God, I, by nature, I'm a man. How I'm defined is Karl Lentz. How I'm known within my society. Oh yeah, you want to do capital K? Don't do this nonsense lower K. Okay? Like I said, if you go to my website, broadmind.org, and that's a play on word too. The guys probably get the joke. Broadmind.org. Anybody else? Anybody get anything on broadmind.org means?
You're from New York, we know what a broad is.
Okay, broadmind.org. Everything's on broadmind here. I'm broadminded, right? Don't use lowercase, because that means you're some sort of free-floating sovereign. This means that I understand that I have certain duties and responsibilities to a family. I'm very proud. You remember the Lentz family. You Google Lentz. We made all the steam locomotive valves back in the 1800s in Germany. I love being a Lentz. I'm very proud of that. Everybody should be proud of their heritage and their family. That's why it's common law. You know the Jamaican crowd, God bless you. Work within your community, because you're going to have to depend on each other, because nobody's going to come save you. So, when you start changing this to uppercase and lowercase, if you change the word Lentz, then I become a member of somebody else's society and I lose my standing within my family. Now, if I wrote the word citizen up here, what do you folks think the word citizen means? And somebody read a book sometime.
Citizenship, sign of the societal. Does it mean social laws?
Citizen. In Latin, civis. What's civis? A member of a family. How many families can I belong to? The Gambino crime family, like my sister married into? No, I'm a member of the Lentz family. So I hold allegiance and alliance. All my duties and obligations is to, I'm a citizen of the family of Lentz. Not the United States Corporation, and not American. Look, my first duty is to Lentz. Then it's to God, then it's to country, to the other people. Country means other people. That's my duty, though. I lay my life down for that. Then God, hey, God, you don't need me. And country, hey, you know what? Sorry, folks, but I'm not doing what I do for Lentz's. So that's what all this means. So I, always with the head. You put an uppercase I. What does an uppercase I mean? What does all uppercase? Everybody knows what uppercase means here, right? A full dimension of capacity and standing within a society. A slave, right? Everybody knows it's a dead entity, right? Corporations, right? You guys all know that, right? We're on the same page. Great. Uppercase I. Looks like somebody's been drawn and quartered and decapitated. There's the capitalization law. What do they call it? Capitalization and decapitated. Uppercase I. A man with no head. Capitalization. Capitalist Maximus. The biggest capacity in which you lose standing. You are dead. You are a man. He lost his head. You're dead. So I, a man, Karl Lentz, believe. That's ridiculous. A dead man believes? What do you mean a dead man believes? That's insane. A dead man is dead. So this drives them crazy. When I do that with the judges, they say, oh, that's good, he's a player. Oh, he knows the capitalist minimus maximus medius. That's right. I know Latin. Drives them nuts. But don't put Latin in this. Oh, don't do that. Don't use Latin. Oh, I see this nonsense because they can put every single word in Latin. If you talk in Latin, they'll speak to you in Latin. They can fill out the whole damn document in Latin. Don't put Latin. Don't use foreign words. Unless you're confident in it, don't do it. What's this, your name, man? Spell it. Go straight. Oh, Lane. Oh, boy, this is great. This is beautiful. Oh, I love doing this. I love doing this when it comes to folklore this morning. real estate, this is fun. Everybody knows, does everybody know this? Because in the United States, everybody knows this. Banks can't own land. Banks can't own land. Banks. Banks, B-A-N-K-S, banks. Corporations can't own land. Did you know that? They're deeded to the man, okay? Okay, the queen, for God's sake, the queen, the king owns all the land, right? The people and the queen are one. The king and the land are one. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? You come from some space alien, spaceship? Where did you come from? Your mom and dad ate from the land. Where are you going to go when you die? Back to the land. Why can't the banks own land? Banks can't own a man. The land and the king are one. Land. Why don't you Google land? It's the inhabitants of the surface on planet Earth. It's the inhabitants that live in a certain section of planet Earth. Land is man. Okay, real estate is a legal use term of art. That's every edifice structure, 1 micron above land. They can own. They can control. That's fine. They can make a claim. But they cannot make a claim for land. Kind of make sense? Okay. So, but I love this joke that I do to people when it goes to foreclosure. Just say, hey, you know what, Mr. Real Estate guy? You claiming that's your house, that's your real estate, correct? Yeah. Here's your house. Get it the F off my land. I'm going to charge you $50,000 a day for that edifice that you own. I'm not disputing it. It's all yours. Now get your effing house off my land. Whose land is that? It's all on. Mine. You better get rid of it now. Because you are the full owner of it. You accept full ownership, or do you want to give it back to me? You just let me alone. How do you want to play this game with me? See what they say. Try that sometimes at last. Instead of going through all these, Sister K Trust Act. Oh, I'm not going to say, you want to do Sister K Trust Act? Let's do that real quick. We got it. You want to do Sister K Trust Act? 1666. Does anybody do Sister K Trust Act? Yeah, he's shaking his head. You've heard of that, right? Good. You've heard of the Sister K Trust Act. Great. Let's do Sister K Trust Act real quick. What happened in 1666 in merry old England? And fire and plague. Fire and plague. Okay. What happened? Oh, they blamed it on the Christians. They blamed it on the Catholics, but we're not going that conspiracy route. Let's just do Sister K Trust Act. Okay. I got to defend the Catholics too. So anyway. The Sister K Trust Act in 1666. When a plague broke out and when fire broke out, all of the royalty left the palaces. There was massive looting in the streets. The king realized if he killed everybody for looting, it was going to clean up this mess. Because everybody's looting. Everybody's stealing. So they said, hey, you know what? We'll distribute the assets of the Great London Fire. But you know what? Everybody who finds this stuff, let's just store it in a warehouse for 7 years. The Sister K Trust, the benefit. Let's just create a trust, and we're going to store it in a warehouse for 7 years. If nobody comes back and claims it for 7 years, you can make a claim for it that you found it. Finders keepers, losers weakest. Nobody's made a claim, make the claim. Just deposit in the warehouse. But if the rightful owner comes around, we got to give it back. If they ran off to Normandy or France to escape the fire and the plague, and they're scared to come back, we'll give them 7 years, and then make a claim. And the rest will be kept by the crown. That's simple. There's no magic in the Sister K Trust Act of 1666. When I heard people on the radio, I said, what? I actually went back and I found a book from like 1676, and I actually read the damn act. I was like, that's nothing to do with birth certificates. You know, there's no such thing as birth certificates. Like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln had birth certificates. They had no marriage licenses. Where did they record all the births? Where did they record all the deaths? Where did they record everything? No. What did you guys use as passports to go from one country to another country 100, 200 years ago? The family Bible. You recorded it all in the cover of the family Bible. That's Susie, that's Bobby, that's Billy. Would I lie to God? Would I write something in the Bible and mock God to strike me down? That was your passport. That's where everything was recorded, in the family Bible. Okay? So, you want to flip to something else, Paul?
We're kind of running down, like, I think we could stay here all night. Explain this.
Explain this and we'll go straight to the...
That's all right. Use a fun one. We'll do it later. Some people ask me questions. Man, that's fine. Let's do what he says. thee, thy, and thine. Why do you guys can't understand the simple concept of past, present, and future tense of words? This is very simple. Why do I gotta come to the United States and explain to you the plural? If I didn't appear today, what would you guys be doing?
I know something to go.
Oh, good.
You're expressing.
There you go. This is how they get joined over you. And the judge ever says, Bali, are you here in person? Then he's saying, Bali the man, are you here in person? Then Mali as the man who has a duty and obligation to those within the society. He's getting joined up. He's getting jurisdiction. He's getting control because he can have, Bali appears as a defendant and the judge has control that Bali is a plaintiff or the defendant. That's the simple, when you ever see what I write, you say, oh, Carl's so cute. He writes thee, thy, thine. Thee, thy, thine, thine. It's ridiculous. It's like, oh, he thinks he's in merry old England. Look at this silly he writes. No, because I'm not living in jurisdiction over here. It ain't gonna happen. But whenever I talk to them, you better believe it. You claim it's true? Because not only, I'm taking the prosecutor, the Pharisee folk, I'm stripping of his colorful costume. You know, he's cloaked in the color of law. So I'm stripping him of that. I'm saying, you, in your colorful costume, and you, as a man, claim. There's only man can make a claim. You believe. Only man has the concept of a belief system. Okay? Because when you deal with the belief systems, man can have a belief in a God or a deity or whatever. Man can have a belief. What these courts have is something called statutes. I don't know if we can have common law statute up there. We have one there. Put it up there. That your wish is that in order. That's one. Jurisdiction, creation, name, which one you got followed. What else you got followed? This common law. Okay, let's do it real quick without this stuff. Thank God I need to read a piece of paper. So, like I said, the simple thing with the common law and the statutes with the word you. So when I'm always catching them in their jurisdiction is by using the word you. Because only man has the capacity to believe. They, in the statutes, it's a statute, it's rigid, it's hard, it's two-dimensional, it's not fluid, it's not dynamic, it doesn't shift, it stays rigid, it stays static. Since it stays static, it's bound. And all they can do is interpret it. All they need to do is maintain a position. So, when I say, I believe that you maintain this position, they understand what I'm saying is that I believe, oh man, the best you can do is maintain a position. You have no capacity to believe. So when I say to them, do you believe? I'm stripping them of their maintenance of a position within the statute world, and I'm putting them in the common law world, the capacity of man. I'm calling them out as a man. Is this what you believe? And I say, well, the state maintains the position, or the Crown maintains the position. Now, what the Crown does, do you claim, do you believe, do you declare? And they're like, I don't declare, I don't claim, I don't believe anything. So then is the plaintiff going to appear? Is the state of Indiana going to take the stand and say, I owe child support, a matter of child support? No. Brian could have wrapped it up like that. But like I said to him, Brian was very happy to only have to pay $30 a month. And what was so funny, man, I had like my little office in Indiana was a Vietnamese donut shop, as they exist. Crazy. Some lady came by and heard me talking, and she said to me, she's going to trial the next day. And her and her daughter, they owe tens of thousands of dollars in hospital bills, and they were going to do a warrant debt. I don't know if they have warrant debts yet. They would do a warrant debt, garnish your salary, and the warrant debt was going to be removed, real property from home, and auction it off to pay the hospital debt. She said, is there anything you can do to help me and my daughter? I said, yeah, this is easy. How much disposable income do you have at the end of the month? She said, $5. I said, $5 a day? She said, $5. I said, oh wow, I ain't never got $5. This is going to be fun. You're telling me you only got like some cents a day? Man, this is going to be a good one. Okay. I am a woman, wish to settle down for our side, but at this time I do not have access to more than $5 a month. Is there anything else of value? Because if you're willing to offer anything else of value for fair and just compensation for debt, they have to accept it, or the debt is no longer due, in which you accept this payment of the debt, in which you claim is true, She said she went to court the next day, and she came back to And she said, wow, the hospital attorney loves me now, and the judge loves me now. Because you're just one side of the debt. You don't want no controversy in the public, you don't want to fight with nobody, you want to work with thy neighbor, you want to set off the debt with your brother, and you're done. No more controversy, no more fight. And she said, wow, that was great. So like I said, it's great because Bobby says that that's how it works with my show. People call me up and
I was saying to you, somebody else before as well, when the radio show's on every Saturday night, and basically people ring up, and it's usually near the end stage, so it normally has to be quite a quick response. Normally it'll be a couple of sentences and then they're sent off, and then you're listening to what the problems are, and then you hear the sort of sentences, and then the following week you always get a quick response. And how many people who have these issues do you get a quick response? You don't. And basically people ring back and they tell you whether it's worked or not, and I think that's brilliant. There's lots of successes on that, and that really speaks volumes. There's not a lot of people that can say that, following lots of stuff that they've been on other training courses. I certainly hold my hands up and I say, I've got to be the first one to admit that. But moving on a little bit, looking at the time, right? So I'll have to be hard for me to
tell what we're doing next. He's my roadman.
Yeah, so what I'm forcing Karl to do is to basically...
Oh, you know what I got to see of England so far? You know what I got on my camera I sent back home, everybody? The most famous thing I've seen? The Rugby Cement Company.
It's really famous.
That's as far as it's taken me.
There's half the people in the room haven't seen it.
No, took you to Anfield.
3 weeks. He's getting
It's in my jurisdiction now.
He's getting every damn time out of it. He's doing it.
Just to Birmingham. We sort of went back past Aston football ground.
Yeah, when? Yeah, for a meeting.
Anyway, stick to the subject. So, talking of orders, so we've got the order pad. So we're trying to make it easy for the masses for this to come out now.
Did everybody see the invoice pads?
So the invoice.
That when officers or any man gives you a command invoice, you can demand fair and just compensation for the People Amendment. There's no, there you go. Nobody's anybody else's slave. And this is the whole thing that I'm trying to do here. I'm going to try to make it, dude, the cops are going to love me, I'm telling you. They're going to be so free of the stupid money game nonsense with their county commissioners trying to get revenue. They're going to be so grateful that they can go catch bad guys and leave little old ladies and jaywalkers alone. That they're going to be afraid that nobody on planet Earth, that's what I hope, like Gandhi was passive resistance, I'm passive compliance. They're going to say, oh my God, this guy, as big as he is, and he can throw goats and steal, he's passive?
This whole way of doing it is, it flips everything upside down, so it makes you think, oh, so the judge isn't evil, the police officer isn't evil, and the enforcement officer isn't evil. He's there to take, I'm there to take their orders. I'm there to make money for them.
Yeah, we said the barristers are a little twisted, so.
Yeah.
They got an agenda.
But how about the other ones as well? So what we're doing is, like, if you notice, it gives quite a few examples. So we're trying to do these little mini books, depending on what the subject
Yeah,
is.
because I was working for years, and this book is huge. And I said, you know what? It's going to take 6 to 9 weeks for me to get it done. And it's this time of year for me to do it. It's winter time. But I said, hey, somebody came up with a great idea, so let's make little mini books for foreclosures, bankruptcies, debt, credit cards, and everything else. Let's create little books for you guys so we can just sell them cheap.
It's the same subjects, and yet we're getting swamped with it. So this should resolve a lot of these, where we can just direct you and say, there's just a little book. Don't go over there and buy 50,000 law books and stuff. This will get you in and out.
And what we're trying to do is we're trying to set up hubs in England. I just realized just basically 1/3 of your island is where like 90% of these people live. So you guys have like Truthjuice places, you guys got to stay in touch with each other. And that's what I'm saying, we're trying to get like some sort of map down where you find people in these hubs to support each other. And Bali's going to take over like Coventry area, you know, for you folks in Birmingham. H wants to do Birmingham. You know, everybody's got a man in Essex named Jason. We got David Lynn in Plymouth. You know, Neil Heavy's a little too aggressive, but probably do something
He's going to have a good fun.
yeah, we'd have like some lady, like Paul or somebody do it over there. Liverpool, somebody,
Who?
like Paul, somebody mellow. We don't want violence, man. We just want these people to love us and pay us, you know.
Who's dealing with it in Liverpool, say so? Paul Keller?
Yeah, we were trying to get that lady Paula, we were trying to get Neil.
She's from Leicester, doesn't have a job to do.
Oh.
I'll talk to you about
We're trying to
that.
find somebody. We want
Do you want to be the guy from Liverpool?
we went to court with Neil, and Neil has no clue how to move a court. He stayed outside, and me and Valley went. So, if you don't know how to move a court, you certainly don't want the guy representing you. You gotta know the whole, you gotta know the theory, you gotta have a belief, you gotta have a core belief of what a common law truly is. You gotta have the concept of the words that your enemies respect and they use against you to get your jurisdiction control over you. You've got to understand their vernacular because they just have to be charged with this on planet Earth. So we have to deal with them whether we like it or not. And then you got to write the paperwork. And the paperwork is 2 sentences done.
Okay.
You see how simple this is? And then once you get the judgment, then you got to execute the order and collect on the order. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened in Indiana the other day. Didn't I tell you guys that the judge did that? He got up and ran when the guy said, "Is that, are you right?" He said, "Come to the bench, approach the bench." He says, "And he got no problem. Is that you wish to have the order?" Yes. And he came up. He said, "I hope you got your checkbook, Judge." And the judge ran out of the room. And the U.S. Marshal said, "That's the first time I've ever seen that in my life." The judge got up and ran because he understood. That you wish is that order. And he didn't realize he misspoke. Wish is in capacity of man. Only a man can create an order.
Drew out the room.
Yeah, you're a man. Oh my God.
Is that request or no?
No, require.
Why?
Require means by authority and right.
No, a request or an order.
No, you require an order. You require. You always make a requirement because you got to understand these silly words that they're using. Require means by authority and, not and. It has to have a right when you make a requirement. So demand is not a requirement. A request is not a requirement. An order is not when you make a requirement. You require this to happen. But yeah, that's like I said, this is what we thought was pretty funny. These book things we thought were pretty cool. And these little order forms, I think they're going to, because you guys all know everything about fee schedules. And I said, you guys don't have order forms, invoices to go with your fee schedules? Really? Huh, I'm going to create something here for you UK folks and pounds and your Queens bench that I already got, like, in the United States. It's like, you guys don't have anything to go with your fee schedules. Oh, well, hell, I'll show you how to support your fee schedule. You need an invoice. You need to have the cop say it in his voice. Somebody else will give you a order, and you want to go and cop it, you want to carry it out.
I'll tell you now, when you see people coming towards you, you'll just see pound signs. So that's completely different from where
And we
you normally
everybody
feel
opens up, right till everybody opens up their book and say, oh.
how may I take your order, sir?
So that's what we're trying to do. What's that?
Does it apply to traffic rules?
It
Everything.
can apply to everyone.
Because
It applies to a judge.
Because he's going to have to show where you as a man did wrong. And the only place that you have to answer as a man is Queen's Bench. The person has to answer in these administrative courts, but not a man. Thank God we live in merry old England, or you guys do. We live in a common law land where man is supreme. But if you're in France, my stuff will not work. You'll be laughed out of the building. You take this over to Germany, Italy, France, you're going to be laughed out of the building.
Is it just France? Germany's okay, Spain's okay?
Any code where code is the dominant, where everybody knows that code prevails as the hierarchy of the law. Customs, beliefs, practice, common law, somewhere in the bottom is like considered cute. They think this new one world order with all these static codes. If you do something wrong in Uganda or in Paraguay and France, everything's the same. You just get the same crime, universally accepted. No matter where you go in a galaxy, they're going to try to make a one world order. It's a lovely thing in one breath. But then you know what? We're going to lose our customs. We're going to lose the Jamaicans' customs. We're going to lose the Aborigines' customs. I came to England, the first thing I saw was Kentucky Fried Chicken. And how disappointed I was to see McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken. So there was only merry chips and fish and chips everywhere.
The cement works must have been a highlight.
Oh, yeah. that was cooking with gas.
Next week,
Next week what? Oh, we're going to be on the Brian Heffy ship.
UK come on Tuesday, but we'll come back to that. I'm just going to quick mention of the law dictionary. That's going to be, you've got your rough 3,500 words. So when we send them back to America, you'll have a bit more time to finish that off.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We
Like
did
book of, like this is like the Book of Tomb. This is a play on your Book of Doom, because the Book of Doom, you guys think it's some sort of skeletons, apocalypse, and dragons, and unicorns, and all kinds of grief. The Book of Doom is not about that. It's really called the Book of Dome. It's D-O-M-E. But you guys pronounce it Doom because it's a play on words, because in 1081, the conqueror, William, came over, and he just had the kingdom assessed, tax evaluated. So he had 5 justices in each county. You know this? Great. There's a Doomsday. You guys go, what it was the Domesday book, okay? This is Domesday, but when the people saw the tax guy come knocking on the door, they said, uh-oh, it's Doomsday, time to pay the county taxes. So they played the word Domesday, Dome's book, to the Doomsday. Oh, it's Doomsday. So this is Book of Doom. It's the orders of man. So when a cop gives you something in voice, it's his order by the order of man. So you're just taking orders from other men. You're not taking orders from the police. You're not taking orders from a cop or a judge. You're taking orders from a man. This will only work against a man, not a judge. If you try to use this against a judge, you put the word judge down there, you might as well just try to collect it from a bottle of water. It doesn't exist. Only man has the capacity to utter an order. This bottle can't. Judge can't. Magistrate can't. Does it kind of make sense?
It's nonsense, isn't it?
It's a lot of fun.
Nonsense.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun once you know the rules, once you know the game. People like Bally, he's laughing his butt off now. He used to be so
Now
straight
you
up.
get the joke.
Now he gets the joke. And that's what I'm trying to do. Just trying to say, hey, this is the joke. You don't think the legal society offered to buy me a house and put me and my family up and make me a lawyer like that? And I just said, oh no, man, I'm having way too much fun. Telling everybody the joke. They're like, oh, you
Some crazy guy from England paid for my ticket.
yeah, so that's like, oh, well, pay this doesn't believe me. We got this covered. God will provide. God will provide. I said, I don't need your money.
So look on your dictionary.
If you want it, man. Like I said, I want to break it down. I think it's better to break it down. But like I said, my dictionary explains like the Book of Dome. But you guys don't need to know what the Book of Dome is. To move a foreclosure or bankruptcy or credit card debt or to handle notices. You don't need that stuff to get child custody back. The Book of Dome is a fun thing. I mean, it's like 3/4 of my page, but you guys don't need to know that. That's good like when you're sitting on a toilet, you know, it's going to kill some time. If it's a hobby. So I figured, you know what, we just got to make mini books. There's like a mini book in here that we had. And it's very simple. There's like 50 pages. And, you know, that way we can sell it really cheap and get it out really quick. No, that's not even that little book. Yeah. There's a little book. It's this big, 50 pages. So we figured we could sell it pretty cheap. And that way you guys, like we do want custody, want taxes, want foreclosures, and something that everybody has access to. It was funny. When I, back in the 1990s, I worked for Sony and Dell Computers. I worked as tech support. And this is my old car for tech support back in 1998 at the Convex Convention. I actually worked for tech support for Sony and Dell Computers. So what was a lot of fun though is I would get on the phone when I had a farmer call up or had a gay black hairdresser in Harlem call up for tech support. They always sent the guys to me because they couldn't just read the script and understand what Sony and Dell said. This is how you technically support these people. I would always be able to get to understand the other person, like empathy. I could actually feel for the other person, like, okay, I know what you've experienced. I know how you're looking at your computer. So if a farmer would say, okay, USB port is like a PTO unit. He said, you want to put all kinds of different farm implications on that. This is what you're going to have to switch. And you can do it hot or you do it cold. Now, it's better to do it when it's not running, ain't it? So I'd explain to a farmer how to use a computer. So they'd be, the supervisors would be listening. It's like, what is he? He's so off the script, it's not even funny. But the farmer or the hairdresser guy would say, thank you. He says, I've been trying to figure stuff out for years, but you've told me how to get through it so quick. It was scary. He says, why don't you write a book? I said, book. I said, did you ever see what Microsoft and Bill Gates creates as a book? That big. Well, $60. I said, how big of a book can I create? This big. How much can I get? $5, $10. That's why Bill Gates is a billionaire, and I'll never be. But is it worth it? Getting you happy and getting on your computer down the road? Yes. Does Microsoft want me to sell you that $60 book until you figure out your own? You better believe it. They're pissed that I solved the answer in less than 5 minutes. You know, I tell the farmer, hey, you know how a record works, or an 8-track tape works, a cassette tape. You remember how that works? You remember how it's spooled? You remember how this works? On and off, binary code, you understand how this works? He's like, well, no, I'll explain to you in about 5 minutes. You need everything you need to know about computer. So this is all I try to explain to people. Everything you need to know how to get the hell in and out of work. How to write a piece of paper. So that's what Bowie's trying to keep saying. how to get in and out of court, how to make a claim, how to write these papers, da-da-da-da. But just do it short and sweet. And that's what I said to Polly, we'll just mass market this thing. We're just going to flood the market. Do it cheap like Walmart. Just, instead of doing Bill Gates and doing $60, $100 everything, make it cheap, flood the market. So that way you little hub guys can get these things out to your friends quick. You say, hey, you gotta read this, hey, you gotta read this, hey, you gotta read this. You see what I'm saying? Make sense? Yeah. All right? So you wanna add something real quick?
This private, non-governmental ID, what do you make this?
Not much, because it was misspelled. A lowercase, the name is lowercase, and you're sovereign. Very flowing deeds. Yeah. Don't you want to be a member of a family? Don't you believe you have a duty and obligation to somebody within the society other than yourself? You look real selfish on that card. You judge you. Somebody who understands capitalism and its maximus medius. You look like you're sovereign. You think that you don't hold anybody anything. You look like an Iron Rand. That she can do whatever the hell she wants because it's all about me. I mean, she has a good core beliefs, but then she just gets extreme. You got to worry about your fellow man. You got it. What are you going to do? What are you kill her as an animal? You live by yourself? You want to eat coconuts all day? Go ahead. Then write the name like that. What's up? Go ahead.
Do you have a concept on the silent letter get out?
Silent.
Silent letter.
Silent of what?
Exactly. If God be the word,
Mm-hmm.
where do we get a silent letter from? They use it as a get out of clause to change the word when they've lost it to a different meaning.
Well, like I said, when I do what they do, I believe everything they want to believe in. I believe in all their facts, all their evidence. I believe everything they want to believe. Right. I couldn't care less what they believe. God bless them. I believe this. I believe the only way you could get me is that I've done wrong. You're going to have to testify in open court under oath of affirmation in front of trial of my peers. So whatever you want to try to convolute something, whatever your beliefs are, to try to twist something, like I said to folks on my radio show, I just try to get you guys in and out of court so fast to get into the sunshine. I don't worry about conspiracy theories. I won't talk about chemtrails. I won't talk about any of that stuff. I have my beliefs. You guys have your beliefs. God bless you. But I just want to get people in and out of court as fast as I can, get back out in the sunshine with the kids, and be let alone from any government intrusion that they don't wish. If they don't believe there's a benefit, please just leave me alone. And we'll get along fine. You interfere with my rights, you're going to be in trouble. Because they don't violate your rights. Because, see, you got to be careful. To violate means to actually stick something in something. Like, you violate, like, say, you don't use, you got to be careful with the words. They interfere with your rights. Interfere. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. I got to give you guys these dictionaries to get the simple words out there. So stop using infringe. You don't use violate. They just interfere. That's all it is. Instead, you have the right to do as you wish, and then interfere with your right to exercise. They try to tell you you can't exercise your right hand. Tell me I can't exercise. Tell me you can interfere with that right. I'll do what I want as a coach.
We've really got to wrap it up because otherwise the barmaid gets really tired in a minute. So I really want to say massive thanks to Valley and Carl. So